MC Pokémon, I can get a 100-fold return. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 76, Quick Clear. Many players were shocked. The NPC Hot Pants girl looked a little ugly, but she still picked up Cammy Turtle and released the Pokémon again. There was a flash of white light, and a level 30 Malilary appeared on the field. Malili, use roundup and roll, the Hot Pants girl ordered. Maliluli's body curled up and turned into a blue ball, rolling across the field. Mariluli's rolling figure left a long trail on the field and rushed towards Pikachu. Rolling is a rock type ability, and every time it hits an opponent, the power of the roll increases. There was no change in Zacian's expression. He calmly said, "Pikachu, Irontail, interrupt." Hearing this, Pikachu's tail bloomed with a dazzling white light and threw it towards Mariluli. Bang! There was a huge explosion, and Pikachu's tail collided heavily with Mariluli's body. Although Maluri rolled with great momentum, she was hit by Pikachu's tail. The huge force struck, causing Mariluli's figure to suddenly stagnate, and her majestic momentum was immediately interrupted. Mariluli's figure stopped. What? The expression of the shorts girl NPC changed drastically, and she secretly thought of something bad. She didn't expect Mariluli's scroll to be broken like this. Seeing this, Zacian smiled slightly and said, "Pikachu, 100,000 volts, solve it." A golden light flashed, and a huge electric current erupted from Pikachu's body and bombarded Mariluli's body. Mariluli suddenly showed a painful expression, and her blood volume was instantly emptied. She lost her fighting ability and fell to the field. Mariluli. The shorts girl NPC screamed, her face looking very ugly. She didn't expect the second Pokémon to be dealt with so easily. Taking a deep breath, the Hot Pants girl NPC released the third Pokémon again. It is a level 30 ink seahorse. Emohama is a relatively rare Pokémon. Its final evolved form, the Thorn Dragon King, is a Pokémon of the Dragon and Water systems, and its combat power is also very powerful. However, Emohama's initial form is a bit unsightly. Without any effort, Emohama, who had just appeared, was instantly killed by Pikachu in one hit. The white light flashed again, and the fourth Pokémon of the Hot Pants girl NPC appeared on the scene. This is a level 31 gem starfish. Although the level was not bad, as always, without surprise, it was instantly killed by Pikachu again. The fifth Pokémon is a level 31 iron claw lobster. Nothing changes in the results. Instant death. Until the sixth Pokémon, the level 31 big-billed seagull fowl. This battle with the Hot Pants girl NPC is finally over. Congratulations, you have entered the next level. The short-sleeved NPC girl took a deep breath and said. Following her words, the door behind her opened. Zacian nodded, put away Pikachu, and walked towards the door of the fourth level. The gatekeeper on this level is an NPC girl wearing a blue dress. After Zacian entered the place, the long skirt girl did not waste any time and directly released the Pokémon. There was a flash of white light, and a level 30 Slowpoke appeared on the field. Seeing this, Zacian also released Pikachu to fight. Slowpoke, telekinesis. The cold voice of the long skirt NPC girl rang out on the field. Stay. Slowpoke tilted her head after hearing the order, and a burst of blue light suddenly appeared in her eyes. Immediately afterwards, a majestic and huge thought power suddenly burst out. Pikachu, shadow clone. Avoid it. Zacian said lightly. Pikachu heard the order, and as Slowpoke's huge telekinesis struck Pikachu's figure suddenly turned into afterimages. With the telekinesis bombardment, Pikachu's afterimages shattered one after another. Even Pikachu was overshadowed, and his blood volume was reduced. However, it's not a big deal. Pikachu, move at high speed, charge. Use the electric ball. Pikachu's figure began to move quickly following Zacian's order. In Slowpoke's dull eyes, it arrived in front of him in a few breaths. Immediately, a golden electric light condensed on Pikachu's tail and bombarded towards Slowpoke. Slowpoke, yawn. The long skirt girl NPC's face changed slightly, and she quickly ordered. However, when Slowpoke heard the order, she was about to open her mouth and yawn. However, Pikachu's electric balls also followed. Boom. A loud bang resounded throughout the field. Slowpoke was hit by the electric ball, and white smoke erupted from its entire body, as if it was being burned by electricity. Slowpoke's blood volume was also instantly emptied, and it lost its ability to fight. With the blessing of high-speed movement, Pikachu's electric ball is extremely powerful, and it kills Slowpoke in an instant. The NPC girl in the long skirt quietly retrieved Slowpoke, and released the second Pokémon. It is a level 31 Iron Claw Lobster. However, as soon as she stepped onto the stage, Zacian ordered Pikachu to use 100,000 volts without hesitation. A golden lightning filled the entire venue. After the electric light dissipated, the Iron Claw Lobster fell onto the field dizzily. In less than a minute after entering the game, Iron Claw Lobster's blood volume was completely emptied. It was just a formality. The NPC girl in the long skirt looked at Zacian and said, "You are very strong." In response, Zacian just smiled slightly. After the long skirt NPC girl said this, she continued to release the third Pokémon, level 32,000 Needlefish. But the result was the same. Instant death. Then the fourth came onto the stage, the level 32 Octopus Barrel, also instantly killed. The fifth is level 32 Maraluli. I struggled a bit. Pikachu still killed it. The sixth is a level 32 Sea Demon Lion. Nothing changed in the end. Pikachu directly used 6, and Zacian defeated the long skirt NPC girl. Congratulations on your qualification to challenge the gym trainer, the long skirt NPC girl said. Zacian nodded slightly and then walked towards the final battle location. At the same time, when Zacian went to challenge the gym leader, the players have gathered in a circle in front of the screen outside the wave gym. When do you think Kaidashin will challenge the gym leader? The first 4 levels, although a little simpler, Kaidashin's Pokémon level is also relatively high. It will take at least 40 minutes. There are a total of 24 NPC Pokémons in the 4 levels. Each Pokémon battle lasts for 2 minutes, so it takes 48 minutes. Excluding the time needed to change Pokémon, it's almost 40 minutes. Even the boss, Yinglan, from just now, took 50 minutes. Oh, the last time I challenged the wave gym, the first 4 levels only took an hour. Yes, the first 4 levels are not difficult, but they are not that difficult. Many players were discussing how long it would take for Zacian to appear in front of the gym trainer. However, at this moment, a player suddenly exclaimed, "Look, Big Brother Kai has appeared." Hearing this, many players turned their heads and looked at the screen. I saw Zacian's figure appear on the live gym trainer battle screen. Damn, this is too fast. How long has it been since the red god came in? Less than 30 minutes. How is this possible? Hiss, is this the overlord of the Pokémon ranking list? It's so terrifying. All the players gasped, their eyes wide and expressions of surprise on their faces. Obviously, he was very surprised by the speed of Zacian's customs clearance. Chapter 77 Gym Trainer, Linglang. Zacian's clearing speed is extremely fast. With Pikachu's powerful strength, all the Pokémon in the first 4 levels except for a few were basically killed instantly. The average battle against each Pokémon lasts less than a minute. This was why he appeared so quickly in front of the gym leader. However, this speed surprised many players. Naturally, Zacian didn't know about this. Under the gaze of many players, Zacian on the screen entered the battlefield and came to the opposite side of the gym leader. Gym trainer Linglang is an 18 or 19-year-old girl with blue hair and a stylish outfit. She looks very capable. Challenger, congratulations for coming here. I'm gym leader Linglang. As long as you defeat me, you can obtain the wave badge and secret skills. Gym leader Linglang raised her eyes and looked at Zacian. She said calmly, "I know, I have decided on the wave badge." A smile appeared on Zacian's face. Hearing this, Owner Linglang glanced at Zacian twice and said, "The previous challengers all said this, but unfortunately, none of them can take the wave badge from my hand. I hope you have the strength." Zacian nodded in disbelief and said, "You'll know later." "Okay, release your Pokémon." Onalinglan's face turned solemn, and her entire person looked like a sharp sword, unsheathed, exuding a fierce aura. At the same time, the blue uniformed NPC standing outside the field said, "Next is a battle between player Kai and the Wave Gym's trainer, with the Wave badge and rank as the stakes." The Pokémons. Zacian's eyes flashed. Release Pikachu. Zacian still decided to let Pikachu be the starter Pokémon. As his starter spirit, Pikachu's strength is beyond words. However, I don't know what starter Pokémon the gym leader in front of me will release. Zacian already knew the exquisite team of Pokémons from the museum owner. At least, they should be level 36 Stinging Jellyfish, level 37 Water EV, level 37 Malillary, level 38 Cold Water Ape, level 39 Iron Claw Lobster, and level 40 Swampert. I saw the whole Onalinglan raise her hand and run out of a Pokémon ball. There was a flash of white light, and level 37 Meriluli appeared on the field. Meriluli? Zacian's eyes flickered slightly when he saw that the first Pokémon released by the museum Onalinglan was Meriluli. At this moment, in front of the screen outside the Wave Gym, many players looked at the Pokémons. The Pokémon appeared on the screen, and immediately understood that the battle was about to begin. Is this Big Brother Kai's high level, quality Pikachu? It should be like this. I must say that Big Brother Kai made a wise decision to use Pikachu as the starter Pokémon. Restrict the water type, although Meriluli, who is only level 37, is very strong, but Pikachu is level 46. The gap is too big. If nothing else happens, the Red God will win this round. If the tactics are used correctly, it can even be achieved. It's not a problem. Some players speculated about Zacian's battle situation. In their opinion, victory or defeat in this first round is already a certainty. After all, there are many players here who have challenged the gym and are quite familiar with the spirit of the gym leader, Linglang. It is normal to make this prediction. Boss Yanglan Ji, what do you think? At this moment, a player suddenly asked Yanglan Ji, who was also standing in the crowd. When someone asked me, Yanglan Ji, I pondered for a moment and then nodded. As predicted, this red can at least penetrate 3. While many players were guessing, the battle between Zacian and the gym Onalinglan had already begun. Pikachu, 100,000 volts. As Zacian opened his mouth, a dazzling golden light emerged from Pikachu's body, shooting towards Meriluli in the distance. Molly wall of light. Linglang, the museum owner, ordered. Maliluli shouted, and then raised his hands, and condensed a transparent light curtain in front of him, enveloping his entire body in it. As soon as Meriluli's wall of light condensed, Pikachu's 100,000 volts also bombarded him. Boom. The electric light bombarded the wall of light, blocking it for only a moment before the wall of light shattered. However, it was also because of the obstruction of this wall of light that most of the damage of 100,000 volts was eliminated. The residual power of 100,000 volts bombarded Meriluli's body, which only made her frown, and a slightly awkward expression on her face. And Meriluli's blood volume was only reduced by 1/5, which did not achieve the expected effect. Naked wall. Zacian frowned. It must be said that this move did not surprise him. Wall of Light is a superpower skill and Meriluli can indeed learn it. However, since Meriluli can illuminate the wall and reduce the damage of special attacks, then she uses physical attacks. Pikachu, move at high speed, run and touch your cheeks. Zacian ordered, and Pikachu's figure rushed out, rushing towards Meriluli quickly. Within a few breaths, Pikachu's figure appeared in front of Meriluli. I saw an arc of electricity flash across Pikachu's cheek and crash into Meriluli's body. ZHI. The electricity passed through, and Meriluli's face showed a pained expression. Her blood volume was halved in an instant as Pikachu attacked Meriluli. Gym Leader Linglang's face changed slightly, and she exclaimed in a low voice. When Pikachu attacked just now, she had no time to react, because it was too fast. She didn't react until Pikachu hit her. But it's too late now. However, although Meriluli was attacked, it was also a good opportunity for her. The distance between the two Pokémons is also relatively close. If a rolling attack is launched at this time, Pikachu may not be able to dodge it. Moreover, as the rolling attack hits, the power will become more and more powerful. Without hesitation, Onalinglang quickly ordered, Malaluli, turn around and roll. However, after hearing Onalinglang's order, Malaluli was just about to launch an attack. But he was horrified to find that he couldn't move, his body was stagnant, and he couldn't use his skills. Apparently he was paralyzed by Pikachu's attack. Seeing this situation, Zacian also smiled slightly. He had anticipated this situation and quickly ordered, Pikachu, electric ball. While Merrily was paralyzed, it was just the right time for Pikachu to launch an attack. Kill him while he's sick. The golden electric ball condensed on Pikachu's tail. With the blessing of high-speed movement, the power of the electric ball has become extremely terrifying. Since Merrily was stuck in place, she could only become a living target for Pikachu. Boom. The golden electric ball hit Merrily accurately. There was a huge explosion that raised a cloud of smoke. Molly Luli. Onalinglang's face changed drastically and exclaimed. When the smoke cleared, Merriluli's figure also appeared on the scene. Her blood volume was instantly emptied. She lost her fighting ability and fell to the ground. Pikachu's attack is extremely effective. Chapter 78 1 takes 3. The prediction comes true. The museum owner, Linglong, took back Merrily, who had lost her fighting ability, remained silent for a while, and released a level 36 stinging jellyfish. As soon as a stinging jellyfish came onto the stage, the owner Linglong ordered, use an acid bomb. The stinging jellyfish extended 2 tentacles, aimed at Pikachu, and sprayed a purple liquid. Pikachu, avoid it. Zacian's eyes flashed, and he quickly ordered Pikachu to avoid the acid bomb. Pikachu's body shape changed, and the acid bombs passed by Pikachu, and fell to the ground, emitting bursts of white smoke. Okay, Pikachu, 100,000 volts. Seeing Pikachu avoid the acid bomb, Zacian ordered again. A dazzling golden light burst out of Pikachu's body and shot towards the huge stinging jellyfish. Stinging jellyfish, barrier. The owner Linglong's face changed slightly, and she quickly ordered. However, just as the stinging jellyfish released a barrier in front of her, Zacian spoke again. Pikachu, go up at high speed. 100,000 volts hit the stinging jellyfish's barrier, causing the barrier to instantly explode. The stinging jellyfish also suffered some damage. However, during this period, Pikachu's figure also approached the stinging jellyfish. Looking at it, the distance between the two Pokémons was less than 5 meters. At this moment, the museum owner Linglong looked solemn, watching Pikachu charge towards him, and ordered the stinging jellyfish, poison attack. The eyes of the stinging jellyfish hidden in the darkness looked at the charging Pikachu. A flash of light, and suddenly 4 tentacles poked out. Pikachu, jump, rush out of the stinging jellyfish tentacles and touch your cheeks. Zacian's expression remained unchanged, and he had an idea in mind. When the jellyfish's tentacles attacked, Pikachu lightly jumped and leapt onto the jellyfish's tentacles. Then, under the shocked gaze of the owner Linglong, he ran straight along the tentacles. Running over the tentacles, Pikachu's cheeks were still glowing with faint arcs of electricity. Stinging jellyfish, throw it away. The stinging jellyfish heard the command and waved its tentacles, trying to get rid of Pikachu. However, Pikachu was so flexible that not only did it not wave off, but it also followed its tentacles upwards. Bang! Pikachu slammed into the stinging jellyfish, and the flashing arc on its cheek released a powerful electric current. The electric current was transmitted to the stinging jellyfish's body, causing it extreme pain, and its health volume was also halved under Pikachu's blow. Not only that, Pikachu's attack also left him paralyzed. Stinging jellyfish. Onalinglang saw the arc flashing on the jellyfish. Her expression also changed, and she was shocked. She didn't expect this Pikachu to be so difficult to deal with. Seeing this, Zacian only smiled lightly, and continued to command, Pikachu, give it the final blow, 100,000 volts. Pikachu, the golden current beam erupted from Pikachu's body and instantly penetrated the stinging jellyfish's body. The powerful electric attack brought a pained expression to the stinging jellyfish's face. Under the attack of 100,000 volts, its health instantly bottomed out. Outstanding effect. Then, the huge stinging jellyfish fell onto the battlefield, raising a flurry of dust. Museum owner Linglong took a deep breath, and withdrew the stinging jellyfish with an ugly expression. The defeat of 2 Pokémon in a row, forced her to take Zacian seriously. This Pikachu is very powerful, and its commander is also very capable of adapting to situations. To be honest, this was the first time he had encountered such a strong challenger. You are very strong, but do you think a Pikachu can defeat me? A flash of light flashed in the owner's exquisite eyes, and he suddenly became fierce. He took out a Poké Ball again, and threw it into the field. A white light flashed, and the level 39 Iron-Clawed Lobster appeared. Iron-Clawed Lobster, block it with rocks. Linglong, the hall owner, looked at Pikachu in the distance and ordered. The clawed lobster clenched tightly with its pair of pincers, and slammed the ground hard, causing several rocks to fly out with such force. Then, the clawed lobster's pincers continuously swung towards the rocks. Bang, bang, bang. Several dull sounds erupted, and rocks shot towards Pikachu under the bombardment of the clawed lobster's claws. The rocks formed a barrage of rocks that flew all over the sky. The rock seal immobilizes Pikachu. If it hits like this, it will definitely cause a lot of damage to it. If it jumps into the air, it will definitely become a target. But standing still is not enough. Therefore, that was the only way to do it. Zacian frowned, looked at a raised rock on the ground, and ordered, Pikachu, hit it, bounce the rock off the ground and hide behind it. When Pikachu heard this, a white light suddenly emitted from its tail, and it swept towards it, and forcefully shook the rocks on the ground. Bang! The rock was swung by Pikachu's tail, and the huge force tilted one side of the rock, just enough to reveal a position that could accommodate Pikachu. Just as the rocks flying in the sky were about to collide, Pikachu ran behind them. Boom! 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 The rock fell in the area where Pikachu was, and there was a roar that raised dust all over the sky. Because his vision was blocked by the dust, the owner Linglong couldn't see clearly. He didn't know if the attack just hit Pikachu. However, at this moment, Zacian spoke. Pikachu, 100,000 volts. Although Zacian's sight was also blocked, judging from the battle information, Pikachu's health volume had not decreased. Therefore, it can be inferred that Pikachu was not injured. In this case, as long as the sight of both parties was blocked, it was their chance to counterattack. Moreover, it is precisely because of this dust that it is more difficult for the opponent to determine where Pikachu's attack will be launched from. I saw that in the dusty area, a golden light suddenly shot out, shooting towards the iron-clawed lobster. Because the speed was too fast, the owner Linglong did not react at all. Not good. The owner of the museum, Linglong, felt something wrong in her heart. When she reacted, 100,000 volts had hit the crayfish. ZHI. A powerful electric current penetrated the entire body of the iron-clawed lobster, and an electric smoke erupted from the entire body. Under this blow, the health of the iron-clawed lobster hit rock bottom. Instant death. The iron-clawed lobster was instantly killed by Pikachu's 100,000 volts. How is that possible? The owner of the hall, Linglong, was dumbfounded. She did not expect that the iron-claw lobster that had just appeared would die in one blow. Furthermore, how did Pikachu escape from the rock blockade? The owner of the museum, Linglong, was puzzled. When the dust cleared, Pikachu's figure also appeared on the field. The owner of the museum, Linglong, also clearly saw the situation of Pikachu's location. I saw a rock sticking out from the originally flat site. Pikachu hid on the back of that rock and escaped the rock blocking ability. Is this okay? A shocked expression appeared on Linglong's face, full of disbelief. Hearing this, Zacian just smiled. Speaking of which, he learned this trick from the anime in his previous life. I remember there was such a scene in Pokémon Generations. Chihi's Pikachu fell into a mysterious ruins in the desert area and encountered a Vulcan moth that spewed flames at him. And Chihi's Pikachu relied on this ability to lift the stone slabs on the ground and avoid the Vulcan moth's attack. Zacian is now a perfect replica of the scene in the anime. Chapter 79. Players were surprised and killed indiscriminately. The battle scene just now was also seen by the players watching outside the wave gym. Originally, they were still guessing that Summer's Pikachu wouldn't be able to avoid Claw Lobster's blocking ability. However, the next moment, many players were slapped in the face. At this moment, everyone's eyes widened with disbelief on their faces. The scene was silent for a moment. Subsequently, many players exclaimed, "Fuck, is this okay?" I haven't seen you for a long time, but the red god actually used this method to avoid the rock blocking? God is really a yites. Mom asked me why I knelt down to watch the live broadcast because the boss operation showed me. Strong, very strong, ridiculously strong. It's his fastest level, but I didn't expect that he didn't even have the ability to command. So strong. There's no justice, there's no justice. It's because I don't have enough knowledge, but I'm so amazing. Many players were shocked that there was such a way to avoid attacks. At this moment, even Yang Lanji, who was ranked 11th on the ranking list, no, probably ranked 11th, was stunned, with shock in her eyes. She had also fought against Ironclaw Lobster before, using an electric Pokémon, and fell to Ironclaw Lobster's rock seal. Only those who have experienced it can understand the horror of this move. It is simply the enemy of electric Pokémons. Her electric Pokémon was instantly killed. And Zacian actually used this method to evade the rock seal, which naturally made him extremely shocked. Sure enough, besides leveling up, this Kai is also a player with extremely strong fighting ability. Ying Sword Princess looked at Zacian on the screen and thought silently. Naturally, Zacian did not know about the commotion of the players outside the gym. At this moment, Linglong, the owner of the whole opposite, took a deep breath. Pikachu defeated 3 Pokémon in a row, which made her mentally depressed. However, as a gym trainer, she quickly adapted. Her eyes looked at Zacian, showing unprecedented solemnity. In the memory left behind, I'm afraid that only those trainers who have surpassed the gym leader level and reached the master level can have such strength. The battle still has to continue. Therefore, after adjusting her mentality, Onelinglang released a Pokémon again. It is a level 37 water EV. However, this water EV is different from other water EV. Generally speaking, water EV has blue skin, but this water EV has purple skin. Flash Pokémon? Zacian was also a little surprised when he saw the purple Ibrahimovic. Flash Pokémon are relatively rare, although there are some. However, the generation rate of shiny sprites is still very low. Water EV, Blizzard. Woo Water EV shouted, and then a cold, biting wind mixed with snowflakes in the sky, blew violently towards Pikachu. Blizzard? Are you going to use big tricks as soon as you go up? Zacian frowned as he looked at the snowflakes in the sky, filled with howling cold wind. The Blizzard skill has a certain chance of freezing Pokémons. If Pikachu is frozen, this round will be more troublesome. We must find a way. Zacian showed a thoughtful look. However, the timing on the field was unpredictable and Zacian had no time to think too much, so he could only bite the bullet. Pikachu, move at high speed and get close to Water EV. Since he can't interrupt this Blizzard skill, he can only get close to Water EV. Following Zacian's order, Pikachu rushed towards Water EV while enduring the damage caused by the Blizzard. Pikachu was lucky. Although the snowstorm was very powerful, it did not freeze. Its health volume was reduced by a quarter, and it was less than 5 meters away from the Water EV. Aren't you frozen? Seeing this situation, Onelinglang also frowned slightly. He didn't expect that Pikachu was not only not frozen, but also quickly approached the Water EV. Water EV, melt. Thinking of this, Onelinglang quickly gave an order. Following Onelinglang's order, Chuaibu's body suddenly turned into a ball of liquid and disappeared from the field. Seeing this situation, Zacian also smiled slightly. Do you think you can dodge like this? You are naive. Although melting is more effective at avoiding attacks, it is essentially just a change of form. Pikachu, discharge, with dazzling lights of golden light. Suddenly, this golden light flashed all over the battlefield. Bathed in this golden light, Water EV, which was melting, let out a scream. Its molten state was immediately released and returned to its original form. That discharges a variety of damage, so the Water EV in the liquid is directly forced to reveal its original form. Not only that, Water EV's blood volume was also reduced by half. What? The museum owner Linglang's face suddenly changed, revealing a look of surprise. Shuyabu was forced out like this? That's it. Pikachu, 100,000 volts. As Zacian spoke, a dazzling beam of golden light erupted from Pikachu and shot towards the water EV. Boom. Water EV was hit by 100,000 volts and its health hit rock bottom in an instant. Immediately, it fell to the field and lost the ability to fight. Museum owner Linglang silently picked up Shuaibu and held it tightly with her palms. Up to now, she has been defeated by 4 Pokémons in a row, but the challenger didn't even fall to a single Pokémon. This made her look extremely ugly. Zacian looked at the gym trainer NPC in front, whose expression was constantly changing, and felt a little sigh in his heart. I have to say that the NPCs in this game are real. He was extremely excited. If this wasn't a game, he would have thought he was playing against a real person. Go, Cold Water Ape. After a moment of silence, the owner Linglang released the Pokémon again. Level 38 Cold Water Ape. Lengshu Ape, Shadow Claw, ordered Linglang, the owner of the hall, as soon as Lengshu Ape stepped onto the stage. Hearing the order, Lengshu Yuan's eyes flashed with a fierce light. She then extended her sharp claws and then waved them in the air. But she didn't head towards Pikachu. In the shadow beneath her feet, extremely sharp claws that were exactly the same as those of the Cold Water Ape suddenly stretched out. Moving swiftly across the ground, it struck Pikachu in an instant. And it still hit Pikachu's vital point. After being hit by Shadow Claw, Pikachu suddenly showed a look of pain and let out a scream. And its blood volume was also reduced by a third with this blow. Up until this moment, Pikachu's blood volume was only half, still within the safety line. Zacian raised his eyebrows. He also didn't expect that this Cold Water Ape could have ghost type abilities. Pikachu, Shadow Clone, move at high speed, stand firm. Zacian ordered. Now, high-speed movement has basically become an essential ability that Zacian will use in every round. After all, apart from special attacks, the most important thing about Pikachu is speed. Pikachu's figure took on 7 or 8 forms and moved quickly on the field. In just a breath, the distance between Cold Water Ape and Pikachu was already less than 5 meters. Not good. Seeing Pikachu coming straight over, the owner Linglang's expression changed slightly. After the previous rounds, she had basically figured out Pikachu's attack methods. Of course she knew the consequences of being kissed by Pikachu. This Pikachu is high level and very powerful. At least the Cold Water Ape is not enough to look at in front of Pikachu. The ending is no surprise. It was the Cold Water Ape who died instantly. Chapter 80 Garlic Emperor vs. Swampert. Pikachu, Electric Ball. Zacian said lightly when he saw that Pikachu was no more than a few meters away from the Cold Water Ape. When Zacian opened his mouth, a golden ball of light condensed on Pikachu's tail, and then with a flick of his tail, he shot towards the Cold Water Ape. Lengshu Yuan, wait. Hall owner Linglang slightly changed her face and quickly ordered. If it were to be hit by this electric ball, the Cold Water Ape would be half disabled, even if it didn't lose its fighting ability. Such a result is not what Hall owner Linglang wants to see. Fortunately, his Cold Water Ape has many skills, and guarding is one of the completely defensive skills. I saw Lengshu Yuan put his hands on his chest and draw an arc. Facing the threatening golden electric ball, he suddenly stretched out his palm and slapped it hard. The electric ball was directly slammed onto the ground by the Cold Water Ape. Boom. After the huge roar came out, Lengshu Yuan remained unscathed on the field. Pikachu's electric ball attack did not work. Okay, Cold Water Ape, just like that, defend against its attack. Linglang, the gym owner, nodded when she saw that Pikachu's attack was blocked. Are you still going to hold on? When Zacian saw this situation, she also frowned. Defending this skill is something incomprehensible and can completely resist the opponent's attack. However, there is no way. Defense cannot resist feint attacks, shadow sneak attacks, sneaky surprise attacks and other skills. Moreover, if you use the defense skill continuously, it will easily fail. However, unfortunately, Pikachu was able to use the feint attack skill, which broke the Cold Water Ape's defensive skill. Thinking of this, Zacian's eyes flashed, looking at the Cold Water Ape on the field, and said lightly, Pikachu, feint an attack. Hearing this, Pikachu pounced towards the Cold Water Ape as it rushed towards it. It flicked its tail. It seemed to be launching an attack. The cold water ape focused all its attention on Pikachu and saw Pikachu's movements. Thinking that Pikachu was about to attack, it quickly stretched out its palms to block it. However, Pikachu retracted its tail in midair and did not attack with its tail at all, but instead struck the cold water ape directly. This situation also stunned Leng Shuyan for a moment. Bang! The cold water ape's defense failed, and Pikachu punched it hard. A pained expression appeared on its face, and it retreated 2 steps. It was precisely because of the feint skill that the cold water ape's defense was directly broken. What? Owner Ling Lang's expression changed and she exclaimed. However, at this moment, Zacian continued to speak. Pikachu, 100,000 volts, kill it. While the cold water ape was stunned, Pikachu's body burst out with a dazzling golden ray and blasted towards the cold water ape. In just the blink of an eye, the cold water ape was hit by the dazzling golden ray, and the powerful current penetrated its entire body, making it look painful. Then, green smoke burned by electricity sprayed out from all over its body. Its blood volume also instantly bottomed out under this 100,000 volts. The cold water ape fell downwards and lost the ability to fight. Damn it. Linglong, the owner of the museum, cursed secretly and put away the cold water ape helplessly. Unexpectedly, this Pikachu can actually perform this kind of ability. However, she was not discouraged, because the next one is his ultimate trump card. Damn it, Kai-Shen used Pikachu to directly penetrate 5. That's incredible. This Pikachu is really ridiculously strong. I want a Pikachu too. It's already very strong when it penetrates 3. I didn't do it. Wait for it. Being defeated by Pikachu, I still underestimated this Pikachu. Many players outside the wave gym had surprised expressions on their faces when they saw that Pikachu had achieved the feat of being defeated by Pikachu and Zacian. However, another player later said, I'm afraid this is Pikachu's limit. The last NPC in this room is a giant swamp monster. It has ground attributes and cannot be restrained by electricity at all. It's impossible to defeat 6 at once. Indeed, that giant swamp monster is really ridiculously strong. The last time I challenged the wave gym, I encountered the giant swamp monster for the first time, and it was directly defeated by 1, and I still used it. Grass type and electric type Pokémons. Just as many players were talking about it, Onling Lang had thrown out a Pokémon ball again. With a flash of white light, a level 40 blue giant swamp monster appeared on the field. It is indeed the swamp monster. Seeing the swamp monster, Zacian also showed a smile on his face. He looked at Linglang opposite and said calmly, I'm afraid you will be disappointed. In order to deal with this giant swamp monster of yours, I specially brought a Pokémon. There was a look on his face when he heard this. A change. Suddenly, a bad idea appeared in his mind. Does this challenger still have any trump cards? In his opinion, this Pikachu is strong enough to be used as a trump card. Moreover, this Pikachu is stronger than any previous opponent's electric Pokémon. Thinking of this, the owner Linglang's expression suddenly became solemn. Come back, Pikachu. Zacian took Pikachu back, then took out a Pokémon ball and threw it onto the field. There was a flash of white light, and a huge Bulbasaur flower appeared on the field. Damn it, I didn't expect the Red God to prepare such a high level Bulbasaur. Yeah, I thought his main trump card was Pikachu. Although Pikachu is very disadvantageous against Swampert, don't forget, none of the Pokémon in the Red God have lost their fighting ability. 6 Pokémon take turns to fight, can't they kill a giant swamp monster? There's a saying, that's right, the levels of the Pokémon in the Red God are all average. Only Pokémon of the same level are enough to kill the giant swamp monster. At this moment, many players had looks of surprise on their faces. What? There is actually a powerful Bulbasaur? The owner of the museum, Linglong, also looked very ugly at this moment. She didn't expect that the challenger in front of her was actually prepared. Swampert has 2 attributes, water and ground, and is restricted by grass Pokémon 4 times. If it is a low level grass Pokémon, Swamp Monster might still be able to deal with it. However, the Bulbasaur in front of him must be very powerful as it is this challenger's trump card. I'm afraid it's not much better than the previous Pikachu. Thinking of this, Onalinglang felt a little heavy in her heart. Could it be that she was about to lose? Bio-frog flower, flying leaf blade. Zacian said lightly. Go. Hearing the order, Bulbasaur yelled in a low voice and narrowed his eyes. Then, 4 huge leaves, like kitchen knives, flew out from the petal tree on his back and shot towards the giant swamp monster not far away. Swamp monster, use guard. Linglong, the owner of the museum, looked at the 4 swords flying through the air, exuding sharp edges. Her face changed slightly, and she quickly ordered. Swampert seemed to know that the Bulbasaur in front of him was difficult to deal with, and his expression was solemn. 2 thick arms stretched out on his chest, always paying attention to the direction of the 4 blades. Seeing it, the 4 blades were about to hit the giant swamp monster. When the distance was less than half a meter, the giant swamp monster finally took action. I saw the giant swamp monster's arms continuously waving, and the 4 blades exuding a terrifying cold light were struck down by the giant swamp monster one after another. Defend again. Zacian frowned when he saw that the giant swamp monster used the defense skill just like the cold water ape in the previous round. This defense skill is a bit abnormal. Chapter 81 The final winner, Empress 1. However, since the opponent doesn't attack, let's do something special. Bio-frog, hypnotic powder. Zacian smiled slightly and ordered. Bulbasaur heard the order, and the huge petal tree on its back shook twice, and countless sleeping powder fell and flew towards Swampert. Not good. Onalinglang's expression changed. If the sleeping powder is inhaled, Swampert will fall into a deep sleep and become a living target for Bulbasaur. Giant Swampert, freezing wind. Museum Onalinglang took a deep breath and ordered. I saw that the giant swamp monster opened its mouth, took a deep breath, and blew out a gust of cold wind from its mouth. And Bulbasaur's sleeping powder was blown in the opposite direction by the cold wind. Bulbasaur smelled its sleeping powder and felt its nose itch, so it sneezed. It was brought back. Zacian was a little dumbfounded. He didn't expect that this giant swamp monster could actually use the icy wind trick. However, Bulbasaur itself is not affected by the sleeping powder. It's just that this icy wind caused Bulbasaur to suffer a lot of damage, and its blood volume decreased a little. Bio-frog, vine whip. Zacian frowned and said coldly. Bulbasaur snorted, and from the petal tree behind him, 4 python-sized vines suddenly sprouted out and headed towards Swampert. Giant swamp monster, wait. The Onalinglang quickly ordered. Swampert once again assumed a defensive stance, staring at the 4 vines that were advancing. However, at this moment, Zacian suddenly said, Bulbasaur, there's no need to attack, use the vine whip to catch it and stop it. After hearing the order, Bulbasaur gave up the attack, and when Swampert looked dumbfounded in his expression, he tied it up. Swampert, I was already in a defensive stance, but you ended up in a bondage stance. The museum Onalinglang also had her eyes widened at this moment, with disbelief on her face. Can the Rattan Whip still be used like this? At the same time, a bad feeling arose in her heart. I saw that the giant swamp monster was unable to fight back under the influence of the vine whip. Its huge body, bound by the vine whip, moved towards Bulbasaur's position. The museum Onalinglang slightly changed her expression and quickly ordered, Swamp monster, earthquake. After hearing the order, the swamp monster's eyes condensed. Although its upper limbs could not move and were tied up, its legs could still move. I saw that, before being dragged away, the giant swamp monster lifted 1 foot and stomped heavily on the ground. With such a strong step from the giant swamp monster, the ground suddenly trembled violently, and this sudden shock made Bulbasaur feel uneasy, with a pained expression on his face. Bio-frog, energy ball. Zacian frowned and said calmly, what? This Bulbasaur actually knows energy balls. Linglong, the owner of the gym opposite, changed her face drastically when she heard this. Generally speaking, energy ball skills are extremely rare. Most grass Pokémons do not have the energy ball skill. Apart from the inheritance from parents, only skill discs can learn it. Hearing the command, Bulbasaur quickly perked up and opened its mouth as it dragged Swampert along. In its mouth, a cluster of light green light condensed, and in the blink of an eye, it became as big as a rubber ball. As it spat out, the green energy ball flew towards the giant swamp monster. Since Swampert was tied up by Bulbasaur, there was no way to escape. The energy ball accurately hit the giant swamp monster, causing it to let out a painful cry. Swampert's HP was also reduced by about half in an instant, and the effect was astonishing. Seeing the energy ball accurately hit the giant swamp monster, Zacian also showed a smile on his face. Bulbasaur, keep attacking. Flying Leaf Blade. 4 leaf blades shot out from the tall petal tree, shooting towards Swampert. Swamp monster, substitute. The hall owner, Linglong, changed her face drastically. If it receives another hit, Swamp monster might not lose its fighting ability, but it will be half disabled. Following the order of the museum owner, Linglong, the giant swamp monster's eyes flashed with a blue light and then enveloped its entire body. After consuming half of its health, Swampert escaped from Bulbasaur's restraints. At this moment, Swampert bound by Bulbasaur has become a substitute. When the swamp monster's double was completed, the flying blade knife also hit the swamp monster's clone hard. Boom. Under this blow, the swamp giant monster's clone was directly cut into a ball of light and disappeared. A substitute? Zacian was also a little surprised. This swamp giant monster's skill set is really profound. In fact, this helped him out of trouble. It's really difficult. Since most of his blood volume has been consumed, the swamp giant monster is also panting at this moment. He solemnly stared at the Mio frog flower in front of him, extremely vigilant. At this moment, the hall owner, Linglong, ordered again, swamp monster, charge up and hit your arm. At this moment, the battle has entered a white hot stage, and it's time to fight hard. Only by working hard can we kill this Bulbasaur. The arm hammer is Swampert's most valuable skill. The hall owner, Linglong, will not allow it to be used unless absolutely necessary. Swampert heard Linglong's order, took steps forward, clenched his fists, and rushed towards Bulbasaur. The muscles on his upper limbs bulged, giving him a vague feeling like a unicorn's arm. Can you also use the hammer? Zacian raised his eyebrows. Arm hammer is considered a powerful ultimate skill among fighting skills. The giant swamp monster in front of him actually had the hammer skill, which really surprised Zacian. In this case, let's decide the outcome with one move. Thinking of this, Zacian also ordered, Mio frog, show your strength. Petal dance. Petal dance is the most powerful ultimate skill among grass skills. Its power is no less powerful than that of arm hammer, and it is even a little more powerful. I saw that Bulbasaur's eyes were fixed on Swampert, who was charging. At the same time, the huge petal tree on Bulbasaur's back began to drop petals, suspended in the air. The distance between the two Pokémons was rapidly approaching. When the distance was less than 2 meters, the fist of the giant swamp monster suddenly burst out, mixed with the breath of destruction. At the same time, the petals suspended in the air also shot out at this moment. Boom. The image seemed to be still at this moment. The powerful ultimate moves of the grass type and the fighting type collided violently. A huge explosion sounded, the dust on the ground was shaken by the aftermath, and smoke filled the air, blocking the view. Giant swamp monster? The owner of the museum, Linglong, looked at the situation on the field with her eyes wide open, feeling extremely nervous. This is already Swampert's biggest trick. Whether you win or lose, it all depends on this moment. Zacian's face was extremely indifferent. From the information of the battle, he saw that, although Bulbasaur's blood volume had decreased a lot, it was still within a safe range. However, I don't know what the situation is with the giant swamp monster. Soon, the dust dispersed. The situation on the field also appeared in the eyes of the two people. When the owner Linglong saw the situation on the field, a look of despair appeared on her face. Almost I saw two Pokémons releasing their ultimate moves. Bulbasaur stood quietly on the field, looking a little tired. Although it was attacked by Swampert's powerful fist, it did not fall. The giant swamp monster fell to the field and lost its ability to fight. The damage of Petal Dance to Swampert is really explosive. At the same moment when the attacks of the two Pokémons hit, Swampert's health instantly cleared up. Bulbasaur's attack shattered the stars, worthy of Emperor Swan's reputation. In this battle, Emperor Swanshan won. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 80 to the value of secret skills. This battle will be won by player Kai. After the winner was decided, the blue uniformed NPC outside the field shouted loudly, and a message appeared in front of Zarshan's eyes. Ding. Congratulations to the player for successfully challenging the wave gym. When Zarshan saw this message, he also showed a smile and retrieved the Bulbasaur on the field. Congratulations on your victory, this wave badge is yours. At this moment, the museum owner, Linglong, walked up to Zarshan and handed him a water drop shaped badge. Thank you. Zarshan nodded and took the badge from owner Linglong's hand. Ding. Congratulations to the player for obtaining the wave badge. Due to the uniqueness of the wave badge, the hundredfold benefit cannot be added. Ding. Server-wide announcement. Congratulations to player Kai. Successfully challenged the wave gym. Gained 5,000 character experience points and 5,000 reputation points. 100 times benefit blessing. Gained 500,000 character experience points! 100 times benefits. Gain 500,000 reputation points. This message appeared, and Zarshan's character level also increased by 4 levels, reaching level 54. By the way, I have this for you, the secret skill surfing technique. Then, the gym owner Linglong handed another secret skill disc to Zarshan. Ding. Obtain the secret skill. Surfing technique. 100 times benefits. Obtain the secret skill. Surfing technique x100. After Zarshan put the surfing technique into his backpack, he walked up to the NPC in blue uniform and handed him the wave badge. Ding. Congratulations to player Kai for improving his rank. His current rank is 4-star junior trainer, 1/5. The blue NPC returned the wave badge to Zarshan. Then, Zarshan walked towards the outside of the Heilang gym. When Zarshan's figure appeared outside the wave gym, many players looked at Zarshan with envy. The red god is amazing. He overthrew the wave gym with just 2 Pokémons. The red god still needs props. I can be cute. 666. There's no one else among you. You don't need to lick this like this. I don't care what you care about, Master Lion Chi. If you have the ability, go and challenge the Heilang gym. As he said this, 2 players suddenly started arguing. However, the 2 players were quickly separated by the people around them. Master Red, what's the reward? After defeating the gym, a player asked. When many players heard this sentence, their eyes suddenly lit up, and they looked at Zarshan with fiery eyes. They are also very curious in their hearts. What is the reward after defeating the gym? Zarshan looked at the player and said, it's nothing, 50,000 experience points and character reputation, and the rest is a skill disc. As soon as Zarshan said these words, the scene suddenly fell silent, and many players showed envious expressions on their faces. Damn it, there are still character experience points. I always thought that the character level can only be improved by defeating Pokémons and mining, but I didn't expect that there would be experience points for challenging the gym. Damn it, if you knew this, you should challenge the gym, otherwise the level of the Pokémons in my place. The team would not be restricted. The level is the same as my character. It's just because of the character level limit that I can't go up. The same goes for the dog planner in this game. In order to increase the character level. That's right. While many players were discussing, Yang Lanji walked out from the crowd. She looked at Zarshan and asked, what skill is your skill disc? Do you want to sell it? When some players heard this, they also looked at Zarshan curiously. By the way, I don't know what skill disc Kai-Dashan got. The gym rewards are definitely very rare. That's for sure. The gym is very hard to defeat. Shouldn't the rewards be more generous? To be honest, the skill disc is still relatively rare, and although Pokémons in the wild occasionally drop some, the burst rate is too low. By the way, wasn't there a skill master a few days ago? I met one near the mountainous terrain. Skill teacher, but the price is too expensive, and I only learned an ordinary skill. Is there an NPC as a skill teacher? Zarshian looked at him. Surprised. Yang Love Princess looked at him and said, the secret skill, surfing. You can buy it if you want. Clicked in agreement. The secret skill disc is one of the most valuable skills that can be learned. The price is about the same as 300,000 Pokémon coins. Damn, a skill disc can be sold for 300,000 Pokémon coins? Is it that expensive? When many players heard this, their eyes widened in disbelief. Ordinary skill discs are definitely impossible, but secret skill discs are different. I read the introduction on the official website. It is said that only the first player who successfully challenges the gym can obtain the secret skill disc, and the subsequent ones will also be able to obtain ordinary skill disc rewards, one player explained. In that case, the secret skill disc is a bit rare. The rest of the players were a little jealous, thinking about when they would level up and challenge a gym that no one had challenged before. After all, the first player to successfully challenge the gym will be able to obtain precious secret skills. Even if you don't use it, you can sell it. In one fell swoop, hundreds of thousands of Pokémon coins were deposited into the account, a guaranteed profit. After thinking about it, Zarshian nodded and said, okay. Surfing technique. Zarshian has a set of skill discs in his backpack, and he can't even use 100 skill discs. Moreover, he still has 100 secret skills, III/, in his base. If you sell these secret skill discs, you will become rich overnight. Moreover, the secret skill disc is different from the ordinary skill disc. After use, it can be reused. Normal skill discs can only be used once. Okay, add me as a friend and transfer the money to you. Yang Lanji looked at Zarshian and said. Later, Zarshian added a friend to Yang Lanji, and his character information contained an additional 300,000 Pokémon coins. After receiving the transfer from Yang Lanji, Zarshian left the crowd and walked towards the Pokémon Center. Arriving at the Pokémon Center, Zarshian first reset the Pokémon in the team. Then, put the Bulbasaur into the PC and pair it with a variety monster again. After all, his mission has not been completed yet, and he must first breed an offspring. After that, Zarshian looked at the team. Currently, there are still Pikachu, Mibulim, Fairy Eevee, Frostmilk Fairy, and Arrow Eagle in his team. There is one spot left. Zarshian took out the previous King Carp egg. Under the effect of the Arrow Eagle's flame body tray, Magikarp eggs should hatch soon. After doing this, Zarshian gave Pikachu a surfing skill disc to learn. Although Pikachu is an electric spirit, it can also learn to surf. After Pikachu learns the technique of surfing, it plans to go to the beach to try the technique of surfing in the summer. Immediately, Zarshian left the city and walked towards the seaside. Chapter 83. The Race of Transvestites. The Old Fisherman. Zarshian arrived at the beach and released Pikachu. Pikachu, use surf. Pikachu jumped into the sea, and a wave appeared out of nowhere on the sea. Pikachu stood on the waves and paddled away. It seemed to be walking on the waves. This surfing technique doesn't seem to have much of an effect. Zarshian frowned, a little disappointed. He also thought that this surfing technique would have some special effects like the III/. Now it seems that although surfing is a secret skill, it only allows Pokémons to surf on the water. It's a bit useless. Zarshian shook his head, then said to Pikachu, Pikachu, come back. Hearing Zarshian's words, Pikachu rode the waves and surfed from a distance. When there was still some distance from Zarshian, it jumped out of the sea and landed at Zarshian's feet. Zarshian knelt down and touched Pikachu's head. Pikachu had a look of enjoyment on his face and called out comfortably. Zarshian smiled and took Pikachu away. Then, Zarshian looked around. Speaking of which, there are many Pokémons on this beach. In the sea, the most common ones are carp, fluorescent fish, long-winged seagull, weak tench, iron gunfish, giant claw crab, and soldier lobster. On land, fireworms, small fist stones, bell cactus, and sandbag snakes are the most common. Zarshian walked along the seashore, but he didn't see any rare Pokémon. However, you can practice your level. Now Zarshian's character level has been upgraded to level 54. His Pokémon is only level 46 and can be upgraded again. In addition, he also has a pure account that is loaded in his hand, which also needs to be renewed with Pokémons. Thinking of this, Zacian already paid attention in his heart. There are water Pokémon on the beach, which can be used to level up Pikachu. Not far away, a red fish head appeared, and Zacian took a look. It is a level 19 Magikarp. Go, Pikachu. Pikachu was released again, and entered the battle. Not long after entering the battle, Magikarp was instantly killed by Pikachu with a single move. Ding. Pikachu gains 1100 experience points. With a hundredfold benefit, Pikachu gained 110,000 experience points. Although this seems to be a lot of experience, it is not enough for Pikachu to level up. The later the game goes, the more experience points will be needed to upgrade Pokémon. Of course, in addition to individual accessories, magic candies or experience candies can allow Pokémon to level up quickly. Zacian still remembers that there seems to be a set of magic candies left in the base that have not been used yet. However, it's not the time to use it now. It will be better to use magic candies when the Pokémons in the team are older and the experience points are higher. Ding. Pikachu used the electric shock ability in battle and its ability has improved. With a hundredfold buff, Pikachu's ability has improved. Picking up Pikachu, Zacian walked towards the next Pokémon again. Half an hour later, Zacian's Pikachu had been upgraded to level 54. Later, Zacian switched back to the starter Pokémons and started leveling up again. It has to be said that with the blessing of a hundredfold income, the experience gained is considerable. Zacian was leveling up as he headed towards the coast. After Zacian upgraded Mibulim to level 54, a relatively rare Pokémon finally appeared in front of him. The 7th generation Usangia and the level 40 Zishi Heron. The appearance of the western lion and heron is like a mermaid. It has long light blue hair and a dark blue fishtail on its lower body. Without hesitation, Zacian used the Pokémon to drag Zishi Heron into battle and directly threw out a Master Ball. The western lion heron only struggled for a moment and was subdued. Ding. Congratulations to the player for conquering western lion and heron. Since the Pokémons the player is carrying are full, the Pokémons are automatically transferred back to the PC. Zacian then opened the PC and looked at the information about western lion and heron. Western lion heron level 40 gender, male attribute, water, fairy features, fast hidden features, none body type, normal life rating, purple attack rating, red defense rating, blue special attack rating, purple special defense rating, red speed rating, green comprehensive combat power. 300 intimacy. 50 skills, slap LV3, water gun LV4, scream LV4, lovely voice LV3, round pupils LV5, water jet L6V, do it again LV2, foam light LV7, singing LV3, serial slap LV4, Jusheng LV5 carrying items. None. Is he actually a crossdresser? When Zacian saw Zishi Heron's gender, he was also a little surprised. The Pokémons of the Zishi Heron race are a little special. Although the western lion heron looks more lovely, the ratio of males to females in their race is 1:8. A typical female clothing boss family. However, Zacian didn't care. Since it was a male, it was only used for breeding. Then, Zacian put away the PC and moved on. However, he had only taken a few steps. Suddenly a message appeared in front of me. Ding. Carp King has been successfully born. When Zacian saw this message, he was also a little curious. I wonder what the qualifications of this Carp King are. Carp level 1 gender, female attribute, water features, Yao 0 hidden features, none size, huge life rating, purple attack rating, gold defense rating, purple special attack rating, gold special defense rating, red speed rating, blue comprehensive combat power. 50 intimacy. 50 skill, water splash LV1 carrying props, none hull. Not bad. There are 2 ratings that have reached gold level. Next, if you use this Magikarp to breed again, you should be able to breed 6 gold rated Magikarp faster. Close the message and continue leveling by the sea in summer. When he upgraded Pikachu, Mibulim, Fairy EV, and Frost Milk Fairy to level 54, On the beach not far away in summer, an old man wearing a blue jacket, a red and white hat, and carrying a fishing rod appeared on his back. Is it an NPC again? Seeing the old man with a fishing rod on his back, Zarshan was stunned for a moment, and then walked over. I don't know what kind of plot this NPC will have. Hello, old man. Zarshan walked up to the old fisherman and greeted him. When the old fisherman heard the sound, he turned around and saw that it was a young man. He was a little confused. His eyes stayed on Zarshan for a moment and asked, "Young man, what's wrong?" Zarshan said with a smile, "Nothing. I see you've been standing on this beach for a long time. What are you waiting for? Do you need help?" When the old fisherman heard this, he shook his head with a smile and said, "Thank you, young man. I have nothing to help you with. I'm just standing here. I'm recalling the scene when I was young. When I was young, I was an expert in fishing and once caught a 400 kilograms roaring whale in the sea. I'm old now and can't catch it anymore." The old fisherman looked at the sparkling sea with a look of reminiscence in his eyes. "It's as if I were back in my youth. All you see are memories. All you think about is the past." Chapter 84 Fishing Record. Almost God appears. Is that so? Zarshan nodded thoughtfully. The old fisherman came back to his senses and said with a smile, "I'm now fishing rod taster. Young man, do you have a fishing rod? Let me see it." Profession? Zarshan was a little confused, but it turned out that he had a powerful fishing rod in his backpack. Then, he took out the powerful fishing rod from his backpack and handed it to the old fisherman. "Hey, this fishing rod is not bad. The quality is relatively good." The old fisherman took the fishing rod that Zarshan handed him, with a flash of surprise in his eyes, looked at it, and said with a smile, "Yes, this fishing rod was given to me by an uncle last time." Zarshan nodded and said, "He can be considered a high-level fisherman. Young man, give it back to me." The old fisherman returned the powerful fishing rod to Zarshan. Ding. A fishing rod taster has appraised a powerful fishing rod, and the chance of catching Pokémon and special items is increased by 0.05%. With a 100 times increased buff, the chance of catching Pokémon and special items with a powerful fishing rod is increased by 5%. There is such a good thing. Zarshan's face also showed a surprised expression, and then he looked at the powerful fishing rod. Awesome fishing rod, a special accessory, the latest high-end fishing rod. If used in a place with water, you can catch Pokémon. It has a 13% chance of catching special Pokémon, and you can also catch certain accessories. It has increased to 13%. Zarshan was also a little happy. "By the way, this is for you." The old fisherman took out another small notebook and said to Zarshan, "This is a fishing log. I'll give it to you." The old fisherman said with a smile. Ding. Congratulations to the player for getting the fishing record. After Zarshan took the fishing record, a message appeared in front of him. 100 times the profit. Get a fishing illustration. Fishing illustrated book. What is this? Zarshan looked at the fishing illustrated book in his hand. Fishing illustrated book records all the special looking Pokémon caught by fishing experts. That's it. Zarshan opened the illustrated book and flipped through it. There were various types of water Pokémon recorded in it. It can be said to be an encyclopedia of water Pokémon. Take Magikarp as an example. This illustrated book records Magikarp with various shapes and patterns, a total of 34 types, followed by different colors of nude branches and so on. After bidding farewell to the old fisherman, Zarshan continued walking towards the coast. After a period of time, Zarshan raised the levels of all 5 Pokémon in the team to the level of 154. Of course, Zarshan did not upgrade the newly born Magikarp. At the same time, about 1/3 of the pure bead's energy was also collected. Zarshan looked at the endless sea and then at the desert on land. After thinking about it, let's go back to Novice Village first. Come out. Fiery Arrow Eagle. Zarshan released the Fiery Arrow Eagle, then sat on the back of the Fiery Arrow Eagle and flew towards Novice Village in the desert terrain. Some Pokémons can actually ride. Pokémons that can fly can carry players without having to learn the flying technique. Other Pokémons, such as Bangira, Absol, flying mantis, etc., can travel. In addition, not only can you ride a Pokémon to fly and run on land, but you can also ride a Pokémon while floating and diving in water. The most common spirit that floats in water is Lapras, riding a dragon. Diving Pokémons are Gyarados, Menace, etc. At this moment, Zacian was riding on the back of the fierce arrow eagle, flying in the air, overlooking the land. Occasionally there are some flying Pokémon flying over. To be honest, the feeling is different in the air and on the ground. At this moment, Zacian saw a black shadow suddenly flying through the air. This black shadow is relatively large and is not a bird Pokémon. Its entire body is purple black and has a long tail. There is something like a shark fin on its back and the entire body looks like an airplane gliding in the air. Is this it? Bite the land shark. When Zacian saw that figure, a surprised expression appeared on his face. He didn't expect a quasi-god to appear in front of him. But think about it, this is a desert terrain and a biting land shark is spawned here. This is not surprising. However, generally speaking, even if a quasi-god appears, there is a high probability that it will still be around land shark and a fang-like land shark. It can be said that you are very lucky to encounter this fierce biting land shark in summer. Fire arrow eagle, chase after the fierce biting land shark. A flash of light flashed in Zacian's eyes, and he quickly ordered the fiery arrow eagle. Since an extremely rare biting land shark appeared, he naturally wouldn't let it go. Is there any quasi-god who won't catch you? Isn't this stupid? After hearing Zacian's order, the fierce arrow eagle flapped its wings twice and chased after the fierce bite land shark in front. However, what Zacian didn't expect was that the biting land shark flew very fast. The fierce arrow eagle chased after it for a while, but couldn't catch up and could barely keep up. This flying speed is a bit unbelievable. Zacian frowned slightly, looking at the biting land shark hanging in the distance, feeling helpless in his heart. The two Pokémon flew very fast into the air and quickly traversed most of the desert terrain. There were many players on the ground with shocked expressions on their faces when they saw the two shadows flying through the air. Damn, what can fly so fast? They must be flying Pokémon like birds and birds. These are the only ones that can fly in the sky, in the forest. It can only be spawned on the terrain, and this is a desert terrain. Yeah, what kind of Pokémon flies? Several players talked about it and looked at the two shadows flying in the air. I just saw a figure sitting on top of a Pokémon on the back. A player suddenly said, "This is impossible. How can a player sit on the back of a Pokémon?" This really seems possible. You know the president of Dynasty Guild, Gate the Wind Never Give Up, his starter Pokémon, Charmander, has turned into a fire-breathing dragon. I often see people saying that Wind Never Gives Up is flying in the sky riding a fire-breathing dragon. That scene is really amazing. Crap, you can actually ride on a Pokémon? You have to get a flying type. I really want to experience that feeling of flying. Zacian sat on the back of the fierce arrow eagle, looking at the biting land shark in front of him, with a helpless look on his face. After chasing for a long time, they crossed almost half of the desert terrain, but they still couldn't catch up with this biting land shark. This makes Zacian feel a little on wax. This biting land shark didn't stop. The Pokémon in this game don't stay in one area, but can also move around. From time to time, you may encounter Pokémon from other terrains. After passing the desert terrain, there is a continuous mountainous terrain. The destination of the biting land shark seemed to be a high mountain terrain. As it left the desert terrain and entered the high mountain terrain, the bite land shark's flying speed slowed down. It finally slowed down. Seeing this situation, Zacian breathed a sigh of relief. If he keeps flying like this, I'm afraid he will be lost to this biting land shark. Chapter 85. Leo Zhe appears on the scene and fights on the top of the mountain. After entering the high mountain terrain, the land shark's biting speed slowed down significantly. I saw the fiery arrow eagle stopped on a cliff on a high mountain. The cliff is a protruding part of the mountain, divided into two sides, as if it were an aerial battlefield in Pokémon. You finally stopped? Zacian sat on the back of the fierce arrow eagle, watching the fiery arrow eagle descending down the cliff. thinking in his heart. Fiery arrow eagle, land. Zacian looked at the terrain and said to the fiery arrow eagle. However, just as the fierce arrow eagle was about to land, roar. A deafening roar suddenly came from the distance. This roar was heard, and the land shark biting on the cliff seemed to have received some message and opened its mouth wide. Roar. An earth-shaking roar came from the mouth of the fiery arrow eagle. What's going on? When Zacian heard these two roars, he was slightly startled, with a bewildered expression on his face. He quickly stopped the fierce arrow eagle and let it stop in the air. Not long after, an orange figure suddenly appeared in the distance. The wings that were spread out several meters wide flapped twice in the air, with the sound of howling wind. That's it? Charizard? A surprised expression appeared on Zacian's face, and he looked at the figure flying in the distance in astonishment. Not only did a biting land shark appear, but a fire-breathing dragon also appeared. What kind of bad luck is this? I saw the fire-breathing dragon land on the other side of the biting land shark. The two Pokémon stared at each other, and a tense atmosphere suddenly spread. Charizard and biting land shark are going to fight? Zacian looked at the two warring Pokémons, and had a guess in his heart. Immediately, he let the fierce arrow eagle stop not far from the cliff. Now is a good time to subdue these two Pokémon. Zacian is naturally unwilling to let them fight. Because if two Pokémon fight, one of them will definitely disappear. This is a loss. Thinking of this, Zacian quickly released the Pokémon, hoping to attract the attention of the two Pokémon and lure them into battle. Ding. The player has entered a special plot and cannot fight against the Pokémon. Question mark? What's going on? When did I enter the special plot? Zacian was confused. He found that he couldn't bring the biting land shark and the fire-breathing dragon into battle. Aren't these two wild Pokémon? Zacian focused on the two Pokémon, and some basic information appeared. The level of the biting land shark in front of me is level 55. Charizard's level is also level 55. It is very rare for wild Pokémon to be this level. Just as Zacian was stunned, a voice suddenly came from behind. There's no way you can fight Charizard and biting land shark. Hearing this voice, Zacian turned around and looked back. He saw a middle-aged man dressed in hiking clothes and carrying a large backpack walking over. This uncle is exactly like the image of the mountaineer in Pokémon. Uncle, what do you mean by this? Zacian asked with a puzzled look. An NPC suddenly appeared, letting Zacian know why there was a prompt to enter a special plot. Come to think of it, this biting land shark and this fire-breathing dragon should be the protagonists of this special plot. And this mountaineer uncle NPC should be the character who provides information. The mountaineer uncle walked up to Zacian and looked at Charizard and Charizard facing each other on the cliff. He explained to Zacian, Charizard and Charizard are old rivals. The purpose is to determine the winner. Unfortunately, their strength is basically equal. Every time they fight, they both lose. This is already their fifth duel. Is that so? Zacian nodded and looked at the cliff. I don't know if they will be able to tell the winner this time. The mountaineering uncle sighed. Uncle, do you come here to watch this showdown every year at this time? Zacian looked at the mountaineering uncle and asked. Not bad. The mountaineering uncle nodded and continued. 5 years ago, on a mountaineering trip, I accidentally discovered the duel between a fire-breathing dragon and a biting land shark. I can see them wherever I go. It seems that I have become the judge and witness for them to decide the winner. But this time, there is one more of you. The mountaineering uncle looked at Zacian. He said with a smile. Hearing this, Zacian nodded. Between two-person talks, the situation between Charizard and the biting land shark became increasingly tense. After a moment of silence, the two Pokémons finally moved. Suddenly, a sandstorm rose around the biting land shark. The overwhelming force headed towards the direction of the fire-breathing dragon. Sandstorm skills? Zacian guessed. At this moment, Charizard's eyes narrowed as he saw the sandstorm sweeping across the sky. It opened its wide wings and began to flap violently. As the fire-breathing dragon flapped its wings, the air rapidly heated up, gradually forming heat currents. The high mountains were originally covered with some white snow. Under this heat flow, the white snow directly melted and turned into water vapor, floating in the air. Then, these heat currents headed towards the overwhelming sandstorm. This is one of the most powerful tricks of the firefighting system. Hot wind, boom. The two air currents intertwined, and an earth-shaking sound suddenly erupted. The two air currents were stagnant in the air, and the scene seemed to be silent. As time passed, under this hot wind, the sand in the sandstorm gradually turned red. A red tornado was formed. At this moment, Leebite land shark suddenly opened its mouth wide, and a purple energy ball shot out from its mouth, shooting in the direction of the fire-breathing dragon. Dragon's wrath. The fire-breathing dragon also snorted when it saw the purple energy ball shooting out. It then opened its big mouth, and the same purple energy ball shot out. Boom. The two energy balls collided fiercely in the air, erupting with a loud roar. It then exploded and turned into gusts of wind and waves that spread out. Even though he was some distance away from the battlefield, Zacian could still feel the strong energy coming in. Aren't they comparable? Zacian looked at the two fighting Pokémons with some surprise. Their strength has improved again. However, it seems that no one has the upper hand. At this moment, the mountaineering uncle said. Seeing that the dragon's anger had no effect, Leebite land shark coldly snorted, opened his arms, and flew into the sky. Dragon dive, one of the dragon type's most powerful moves. TSK. Seeing this, the fire-breathing dragon spread its wings without hesitation, and soared into the sky. I'm afraid it was just a warm-up. Now it's time for the real showdown. The mountaineer uncle looked at the two Pokémons in the air, a flash of light flashing in his eyes. Hearing this, Zacian quickly raised his head and looked into the sky. Chapter 86. The fire-breathing dragon fiercely bites the land shark. I want to conquer you. In the sky, the figures of the fire-breathing dragon and the biting land shark collided fiercely. The orange light and the purple-black light intertwined and collided with each other, creating fierce sparks. After a fierce physical collision, neither Charizard nor the biting land shark took advantage. At this moment, the two Pokémon stared at each other and landed on the cliff again. It's evenly divided. Zacian looked at the two Pokémons facing each other in front of him, feeling a little surprised in his heart. Although Charizard and the biting land shark are only level 55, they are extremely powerful. They must be subdued. Zacian secretly thought in his heart. While Zacian was thinking, Charizard and the biting land shark fought fiercely again. I saw that the fire-breathing dragon opened its mouth, and a stream of flame spewed out of its mouth, shooting towards the biting land shark. Ligielu shark snorted coldly, and naturally not to be outdone, he directly stepped forward, stretched out his sharp claws, and directly smashed the flames. Boom. The two Pokémon collided fiercely again. However, the two Pokémon tried their best, but they couldn't do anything to defeat each other. Half an hour later, the two Pokémon stood still on the cliff, panting, staring at each other, neither of them convinced. It seems that they can't tell who the winner is this time. The mountaineer uncle looked at the fire-breathing scarred dragon and the land shark biting on the field, and sighed. The strength of these two Pokémon is basically the same, and the move attributes are somewhat disadvantageous to Charizard. To be able to do this, Charizard is already extremely impressive. Uncle, I should be able to subdue the fire-breathing dragon and the biting land shark, right? Zacian looked at the mountaineer uncle and asked with a smile. Oh. The mountaineer uncle looked at Zacian in surprise. He didn't expect the young man in front of him to have such an idea. Charizard and the biting land shark don't have trainers. They are wild Pokémons with great strength. The mountaineer uncle was not optimistic about Zacian and said, if you want to conquer the fire-breathing dragon and the biting land shark, you probably have to defeat them. You want to defeat them, you still have to defeat them. There are some difficulties. I once had such thoughts, but I couldn't defeat them, so I gave up. After hearing this, a smile appeared on Zacian's face and he said, then that's no problem, my strength is still there. It's okay, it's just a fire-breathing dragon and a biting land shark, I still have some confidence. He arrived at the cliff. He looked at Charizard and biting land shark who were panting slightly and said, Charizard, biting land shark, I want to conquer you, let's have a battle. When Charizard and Biting Landshark heard this, they all turned their heads and their eyes fell on Zacian. Roar. The fire-breathing dragon shouted towards Zacian, as if saying that, if you want to conquer it, you can, but you have to defeat it and convince it. Bite Landshark looked at Charizard, and didn't say anything, but it seemed to have the same appearance. Okay, you two have been fighting for so long, do you need a break? Zacian looked at Charizard and Biting Landshark and asked with a smile. Roar. Charizard and Biting Landshark roared, seeming to say no. Then who should go first? Zacian continued to ask. Charizard and Biting Landshark looked at each other, and then Charizard shouted at Biting Landshark and stepped forward, obviously starting with it. In that case, let's start with you first. Zacian looked at the fire-breathing dragon that came forward and smiled. After thinking about it, he released Pikachu. Charizard is a flying and fire spirit, while Pikachu is more restrained. On the cliff, Charizard looked at the yellow-furred mouse in front of him and snorted lightly, with a trace of disdain in his eyes. In his opinion, this yellow-furred mouse couldn't defeat him at all. Pikachu seemed to sense Charizard's disdain and shouted, glaring at Charizard. Pikachu, 100,000 volts. Zacian looked at Charizard and directly ordered Pikachu. Hearing Zacian's order, Pikachu's body suddenly erupted with a burst of dazzling golden lightning. Then, the golden lightning turned into a beam of light and shot towards the fire-breathing dragon. Charizard snorted in disdain, flapped its wings, and flew into the air, avoiding Pikachu's 100,000 volts. Seeing this, Zacian just smiled. Although Pikachu's 100,000 volts was dodged, he didn't care. Just to test the fire-breathing dragon's reaction. Now it seems that, although this fire-breathing dragon is a little arrogant, it is cautious enough. Charizard's figure was suspended in the air, looking down at Pikachu below, and suddenly swooped down. As it swooped down, Charizard opened its big mouth, and a burst of flames shot out of its mouth, roaring towards Pikachu's position. Pikachu, move at high speed and avoid it. Zacian's eyes narrowed, and he quickly ordered. Aha! Pikachu's figure suddenly turned into a beam of light, and began to quickly run down the cliff. Charizard's attack was directly dodged by Pikachu. At the same time, Charizard also descended and frowned as he watched Pikachu running fast. Immediately, it flapped its wings a few times and a stream of heat erupted, forming a strong wind that blew over the cliff. Under this hot wind, Pikachu only felt the temperature around it rapidly rising, as if it was being burned. Being attacked by Charizard's hot wind, Pikachu's health dropped a lot. Not only that, Pikachu was also directly blown away by the strong wind and flew backwards. Pikachu showed a hint of panic. However, fortunately, it only flew backwards a short distance, and Pikachu's figure landed on the ground, making him sigh with relief. Zacian frowned and ordered Pikachu. Pikachu, move at high speed. Charge forward, electric ball. Pikachu stabilized his figure, and after hearing Zacian's order, he turned into a beam of light again, and rushed towards Charizard. Charizard looked at the charging Pikachu with a trace of contempt in his eyes. Judging from the test just now, this Pikachu is like this. At first I thought this human was very powerful, but that was all. That's all? Do you want to conquer him too? Dream. Charizard opened his mouth wide, and a scorching flame condensed in his mouth, then turned into a beam of flames and shot towards Pikachu. As the jet flames pierced through the air, even the air was scalded and distorted. From this we can see how powerful this jet flame attack is. Pikachu, avoid the shadow clone and use cheek touch again. When Zacian saw this situation, his expression did not change at all, and he gave the order directly. Pikachu heard the order, and looked at the burst of flames. His eyes suddenly condensed. Then, his figure turned into shadows. At the same time, Pikachu's cheeks flashed with arcs of electricity, dodging from left to right, and struck Charizard. Boom. The jet of flames hit Pikachu's shadow and directly exploded. Seeing that his attack failed, Charizard also frowned. However, Pikachu's speed caused Charizard to show a look of surprise in his eyes. However, before Charizard could react, Pikachu's figure had already appeared in front of him. Just as Charizard was about to make a move, Pikachu suddenly jumped up and hit him hard on the head. Bang! Charizard only felt a powerful current coming from him, and a burst of pain erupted, making him feel painful. Because Pikachu hit Charizard's head, the latter fell backwards while remaining unsteady. Seeing Charizard fall, Zacian's eyes also flashed with light. Pikachu, discharge. Hearing this, Pikachu screamed, and a strong golden beam erupted from Pikachu's body, enveloping Charizard's entire body. Suddenly, a golden light shone above this high mountain cliff. Chapter 87 Conquest, Activation Mechanism. Great chapter. Please vote for recommendation. Pikachu's attack caused huge damage to Charizard. Charizard's health, which was already less than half, hit rock bottom. However, the fire-breathing dragon did not fall. It used the hold skill at the last moment. Therefore, although its health is now at its lowest, it still has the last trace of its skills left. Roar. The fire-breathing dragon stood up from the ground with difficulty. Its eyes fell on Zacian, and stayed for a long time. Finally, it nodded and then walked towards Zacian. Apparently, it is Summer's recognition. Even so, there was still a trace of annoyance in Charizard's eyes as it regretted being careless just now. In fact, it underestimated this yellow-skinned rat. Unexpectedly, the strength of this yellow-skinned rat was not bad at all. When Zacian saw the appearance of the fire-breathing dragon, a smile appeared on his face. Suddenly, a message appeared in front of his eyes. Ding. Congratulations to the player for being recognized by Charizard. Beautiful. Seeing this message, Zacian felt happy. At this moment, the fire-breathing dragon also came to Zacian, stood in front of him, and roared twice at Zacian. Roar. Then, Charizard turned its head, and looked at the biting land shark not far away, and roared, as if to say, that it's your turn. Seeing this, Zacian quickly took out the wound medicine and treated Charizard. He hasn't subdued Charizard with the Poké Ball yet, letting it rest for a while. Young man, your Pikachu is very powerful and well behaved. Unexpectedly, it defeated Charizard. A surprised expression appeared on the mountaineer's face. He originally thought that Zacian would not be able to defeat the fire-breathing dragon, but now it seems that he was wrong. Hearing this, Zacian just smiled lightly and said, actually, the main reason is that the fire-breathing dragon consumed too much in the battle with the land shark it bit just now, and has not recovered. Next, I still have to fight the biting land shark. Please help me take care of the Charizard. The mountaineer uncle nodded and said, don't worry, leave the Charizard to me. Zacian ordered him. He nodded, and then his eyes fell on the biting land shark not far away. Sensing Zacian's gaze, the biting shark stepped forward and growled at Zacian. It seemed to be telling Zacian that the battle can begin. Zacian's eyes flashed, and he took Pikachu back. Against Shark, he planned to use Frost Milk Fairy. The fairy type is the enemy of the dragon type. This biting land shark is very strong, but its Frost Milk Fairy is not bad either. Go, Frosty Milk Fairy. With a flash of white light, Frosty Milk Fairy appeared on the cliff. Huh. Young man, I didn't expect you to have a fairy type Ice Milk Fairy. When the mountaineer uncle saw Zacian releasing an Ice Milk Fairy, a trace of surprise flashed across his eyes. You've cultivated this Ice Milk Fairy very well. It seems that Lebite Land Shark will also be yours. Zacian nodded, and did not speak. His attention was already on Lebite's body. Shark looked at the small pink dot that appeared in front of him, a flash of surprise flashing in his eyes and then disdain. At this level, it is already very powerful, and has the pride of a wild Pokémon. It is just a small thing, how strong it can be. In his opinion, the reason why the fire-breathing dragon lost to the yellow-skinned human mouse in front of him was that's only because Charizard is a piece of trash. They have been fighting for so many years, but they did not expect their opponent to lose to a yellow-skinned mouse. This left her speechless. He became somewhat disdainful towards the fire-breathing dragon's strength. At the same time, he also wondered why he was always tied up with that useless fire-breathing dragon. This is simply a great shame. Lebite Shark roared, his face full of resentment. Frost Milk Fairy seemed to sense Lebiting's emotions. Shark tilted his head and looked at Lebiting Shark in confusion. Lee Shark noticed Frost Milk Fairy's gaze and immediately glared at her, as if to say, "What are you looking at, little one?" Seeing this, Zarshan merely smiled. This one should be stable. Frost Milk Fairy, use charming. Strike first to gain the advantage, strike later to suffer disaster. When Frost Milk Fairy heard Zarshan's order, she tilted her head, waved her little hand, condensed love hearts in front of her, and threw them towards biting land shark. Looking at the hearts that were flying out, Lee Shark's face showed a trace of doubt and confusion. What kind of attack is this? What power does such a weak attack have? Exclamation mark. Lee Shark felt even more disdain for this little one. Then, she extended her sharp claws and pricked each of the hearts. However, after he broke off these loves, for some reason, looking at the Frost Milk Fairy in front of him, Lee Shark's heart suddenly started beating rapidly. What's going on? Lee Shark looked puzzled. Why does this little guy look so cute? How do you put it in human terms? Kawaii. At the same time, a hint of red suddenly appeared on Lee Shark's face, as if blushing, but because it was purple black skin, it couldn't be seen at all. Damn it. Why do you think the more you look at this little guy, the cuter he becomes? He wanted to launch an attack, but he felt a little unable to do so. When Zarshan saw that Lee Shark hadn't launched an attack, he immediately showed a smile. It seemed like Lee Shark had already fallen into a state of obsession. Then, he spoke again. Frost Milk Fairy, magic shines. Take advantage of his illness and kill him. If you don't act now, you'll wait until later. Just as biting land shark was fascinated, Frost Milk Fairy waved her little hand and a ball of pink light condensed in her hand. Buzz. Then, a dazzling light bloomed, illuminating the entire mountain cliff. Under the attack of the magic flash, Lee Shark's blood volume plummeted, quickly reaching a dangerous level. The effect of this blow is simply extraordinary. Lee Shark was already destined to be defeated before it even made a move. When the fire-breathing dragon at the side saw the stupid look of biting land shark, its face suddenly showed an expression of hatred for Ryan. Damn it. This trash. What's going on? He was beaten to the point of being unable to fight back. How is it possible that he has been fighting this trash for so many years, and you still can't beat him? This is simply a shame for Longsheng. After beating Lee Shark until only a trace of HP was left, Zarshan did not order Frost Milk Fairy to attack again, but instead waited for Lee Shark to wake up. Young man, it seems that this biting land shark will be conquered by you. Seeing this situation, the mountaineering uncle already understood in his heart that, if nothing else happens, this biting land shark may have become Zarshan's bag. After waiting for a while, land shark finally woke up. He stared at the human in front of him, wondering why he didn't attack. Lee Shark, who was in a state of obsession, did not sense the Frost Milk Fairy's attack at all. What's going on? Land Shark was puzzled. Zarshan looked at Lee Shark with a smile and said, Lee Shark, you have lost this battle. Hearing this, Lee Shark was stunned for a moment, then growled, as if saying this impossible. How could he lose? He won't lose to this human like that useless fire-breathing dragon. Don't you find that something is wrong with you? Feel it yourself. Zarshan said. Lee Shark had a face full of disbelief, and then was shocked to find that his strength was extremely weak, as if he was about to lose his ability to fight. Roar. Lusher ordered Zarshan, as if asking what was going on. He racked his brains, and couldn't figure out why he became like this. In the end, the fire-breathing dragon at the side roared a few words at Land Shark, and Land Shark finally understood why he became like this. How is it going? You recognize me now? Zarshan asked as he looked at biting land shark. Lee Shark nodded, walked towards Zarshan, and let out a low growl. At this moment, a message also appeared in front of Zarshan. Ding. Congratulations to the player for being recognized by biting land shark. A smile appeared on Zarshan's face, and then he said to biting land shark and Charizard, since everyone recognized me, let's enter the Pokémon Ball. Land shark and Charizard looked at each other and nodded. Then, Zarshan took out two high-level balls and threw them towards biting land shark and Charizard. Biting Land Shark and Charizard were absorbed into the advanced ball and were subdued by Zacian without any struggle. Ding. Congratulations to the player for completing the special plot and conquering Biting Land Shark and Charizard with a 100-fold benefit. All 6 ratings of Biting Land Shark have been upgraded to gold. With a 100-fold benefit, all 6 ratings of the fire-breathing dragon are upgraded to gold. After this message appeared, the message of 100 times the profit appeared again. Crap, what's going on? Zacian was also stunned for a moment when he saw the prompt of 100 times the profit. Ding, since the number of Pokémon the player is carrying is full, the Land Shark and Charizard are sent back to the PC. The rating improvement only appeared when he obtained the starter Pokémon Pikachu. The ratings for conquering Pokémon were not improved before, so why are they starting to be improved again now? Could it be said? Suddenly, a possibility emerged in Zacian's mind. Is it because he conquered Pokémon in a special plot that triggered this 100 times profit? Perhaps it's really possible. Although this is just a guess, Zacian is extremely certain in his heart. Recalling the various special plots and NPCs he had experienced before, the rewards he received were not quantitative rewards, but promotion props. On the contrary, items obtained by defeating Pokémon in the wild and resources obtained from mining are quantitative rewards. Perhaps this is a trigger mechanism of the 100-fold profit system. However, the ability to bite land sharks and fire-breathing dragons can be upgraded to a gold level. This is definitely good news for summer. This way you will save time to raise them in summer. Chapter 88 The Battle with the Mountaineer. Zacian took out the PC and checked the information on Charizard and Biting Land Shark. Charizard level 55 gender, male attribute, fire, flying features, fierce features, power of the sun body size, tall HP rating, gold attack rating, gold defense rating, gold special attack rating, gold special defense rating, gold speed rating, gold comprehensive combat power. 450 intimacy. 60 skills, capture LV3, scream LV3, spark LV5, smoke screen LV3, dragon breath LV3, flame fang LV4, split LV6, dragon rage LV4, flame jet LV8, ghost face LV3, flame vortex LV4, purgatory LV5, hot wind LV7, air slash LV3, dragon claw LV5. Flame Fist LV3, Big Character Explosion LV5, Hold On LV3, Iron Tail LV2, Earth Throw LV1. Items carried, none. This fire-breathing dragon still has many skills. Yes, all the skills that need to be learned have been learned. Zacian clicked on the information about Biting Land Shark again, and looked at it. Bite Land Shark level 55 gender, male attribute, dragon, ground features, hiding in the sand hidden features, rough skin body type, tall health rating, gold attack rating, gold defense rating, gold special attack rating, gold special defense rating, gold speed rating, gold comprehensive combat power. 450 intimacy. 60 skills, sand shaking LV3, dragon's wrath LV4, sandstorm LV5, slam LV3, quicksand hell LV4, split LV6, dragon claw LV8, digging LV4, dragon dive LV7, crush LV3, double slash LV6, flame fang LV4, guard LV5, earthquake LV5, sharp stone attack LV6. Dragon Tail LV5, Reverse Scale LV2, Dragon Star Cluster LV1, Dragon Wave LV1. Unexpectedly, a Biting Land Shark is lying. I can actually use the powerful dragon type ultimate trick like Dragon Star Cluster. A flash of surprise flashed in Zacian's eyes. After the blessing of the 100-fold gain system, the two Pokemon's ratings have reached the golden legend and their strength can be said to have undergone earth-shaking changes. Young man, congratulations on conquering the Biting Land Shark and the fire-breathing dragon. At this moment, the mountaineer uncle standing at the side walked over and said to Zacian, being able to conquer them is still great luck. Zacian shook his head and said with a smile, to be honest, this was after the previous battle between Charizard and the Biting Land Shark. Before the blood volume could recover, the peach was taken away by Zarshan. Otherwise, it may take some effort to subdue the fire-breathing dragon and the biting land shark. Perhaps Zarshan will throw out the Master Ball. Fortunately, because Charizard and biting land shark were more arrogant, they eventually rolled into the gutter. No, being able to conquer these two powerful Pokémons is enough to prove that your strength is not much different. The mountaineering uncle shook his head and continued, young man, I don't know if you can promise me a please. Oh, uncle, can I help you? Zarshan asked with a flash of eyes. This should be the continuation of this special plot. Zarshan thought so in his heart. When the mountaineering uncle heard this, he smiled and said, it's nothing. I wonder if I can have a battle with Charizard and biting land shark. Back then, after I met Charizard and biting land shark, I just wanted to challenge them, but unfortunately I never got the chance. After they finished fighting, they were already scarred, and I couldn't go ahead to challenge them again. At this moment, another message appeared in front of Zarshan. Ding. Special plot follow-up, Mountaineer Uncle's challenge request. Will the player accept the challenge? Confirm. As Zarshan expected, the mission of this special plot arrived. Seeing this message, Zarshan nodded and said, okay, uncle. Then, Zarshan put my Bilim and Carp King into the team on the PC and replaced Charizard and biting land shark. After that, he took out the treatment machine to restore his blood volume. Uncle, Charizard and biting land shark have fully recovered and are ready for battle. After completing the treatment of Charizard and biting land shark, Zarshan said to the mountaineering uncle. The mountaineering uncle nodded and said, young man, thank you. After saying that, the mountaineering uncle retreated a certain distance, leaving a small battlefield. Zarshan's eyes flashed, and he released Bite Land Shark. Roar. Ligielu Shark appeared on the scene feeling that his condition had fully recovered. He let out a roar. Uncle, release your Pokémon. Zarshan looked at the uncle. I'm sorry. The state of biting land shark, and saw that it was recovering well, so he said to the mountaineering uncle, well, young man, you have to be careful. The mountaineering uncle smiled slightly, then took out a Pokémon ball and threw it. There was a flash of white light, and a level 45 Big Mouth Baby appeared on the field. Big Mouth Baby? Zarshan raised his eyebrows, a little surprised. Big Mouth Baby is a Steel and Fairy type Pokémon. Although its level is lower than that of biting land shark, its attributes are somewhat restricted by biting land shark. Moreover, Big Mouth Baby can also perform Mega Evolution, which is considered a relatively rare Pokémon. However, it just bites the land shark and holds the Big Mouth Baby. Generally speaking, the chances of winning by biting a land shark are relatively high. Big Mouth Boy, use Fairy Wind. The mountaineering uncle was the first to speak. Hearing the order, Big Mouth Baby's eyes flashed, then he waved his arms, and a gust of pink wind surrounded him, and blew towards the biting land shark. Fiercely bite the land shark, Sandstorm. The first move is a fairy type skill. It seems that this mountaineer uncle is not a good person. Although the effect of the sandstorm is not very great on Azua, the most important thing is to resist the fairy wind skill. If the biting land shark is blown away by the fairy wind, I'm afraid that it will also suffer a lot of damage. Therefore, Zarshan did not want to give the mountaineer uncle a chance. Young man, you have unique insights in the use of skills. The mountaineer uncle was slightly surprised when he saw that Dazu's fairy wind skill was broken like this, and said in admiration, however, we won't be so lucky next time. The mountaineer uncle's eyes flashed, and suddenly a glint flashed across his eyes. He then rolled up his sleeves and raised his right hand. I saw that the mountaineer uncle was wearing a bracelet on his right hand, with a stone emitting a strange light embedded in it. Is this the cornerstone of super evolution? Seeing the jewelry on the mountaineer uncle's right hand, Zarshan's face showed a look of surprise. Damn, what's going on? Why did the mage evolution appear? It seems that no player has encountered the mage evolution yet. Young man, I didn't expect you to know about super evolution. When the mountaineer heard this, there was a look of surprise in his eyes. Obviously, Zarshan knew about super evolution, and was still a little surprised. After a pause, the mountaineer uncle looked at the big-mouthed kid in the field, with a smile on his face. He looked at the big-mouthed kid in the field and said, "Big-mouthed kid, let's show our strength. Bite land shark." Hearing what the mountaineering uncle said, the big mouth baby screamed, and then a super evolution stone was exposed under the big mouth on the top of the big mouth baby's head. Big mouth baby, transform. Mega evolve. When the mountaineering uncle finished speaking, the evolution keystone on his arm echoed with the super evolution stone on the back of the big mouth baby's head, emitting a dazzling light. Boom. As this ray of light was emitted, Big Mouth Baby's entire body was submerged in a burst of dazzling light. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89. The second one takes the stage. This light disappeared as quickly as it appeared. When the light dissipated, Big Mouth Baby's figure reappeared on the field. However, the difference from before is that Big Mouth Baby's original yellow skirt has turned into a red skirt, and the single ponytail before has turned into a double ponytail. The power of this Big Mouth Baby also became more ferocious. Big Mouth Baby, use the fog field. Seeing Big Mouth Baby's super evolution completed, the mountaineer uncle continued to give orders. I saw a pink fog filling the field, enveloping Big Mouth Baby's entire body in it. The effect of the fog field is to halve the power of the dragon's skills. It can be said that it is specially designed to deal with dragon-type Pokémons like biting land shark. Seeing this situation, Zarshan also frowned. The current situation is very unfavorable for biting land shark. The dragon's skills can be said to be the most powerful among all attributes, but the current situation is that they have been halved. Bite land shark, earthquake. In this case, we can only change tactics. Hearing Zarshan's order, the big mouth land shark roared, then raised its foot and stomped on the ground forcefully. Suddenly, the place shook violently, as if there was a real earthquake, forming shock waves that swept towards the Big Mouth Baby. Phew. Feeling this strong shockwave, the Big Mouth Baby showed a pained expression on his face. His blood volume was instantly reduced by half by this skill. Earth skills can restrain Big Mouth Baby, so the attack effect of this earthquake is simply outstanding. The mountaineer uncle also frowned. Although Big Mouth Baby has successfully evolved, there is still some gap in strength between the Big Mouth Baby and the Big Mouth Baby. Big Mouth Baby, have fun. Playing is a relatively powerful skill in the fairy system. The Big Mouth Baby listened to the mountaineer uncle's order and rushed towards the Big Mouth Baby. The big mouth on the Big Mouth Baby's head opened its teeth and claws and launched an attack. When it saw the Big Mouth Baby approaching, it bit the land shark and let out a low roar before slamming it with its paw. However, the Big Mouth Baby nimbly dodged it, and the big mouth on its head forcefully bit the biting land shark. Roar. After being attacked by Big Mouth Baby, Bite Lu Shark suddenly showed a pained expression on its face. Its blood volume rapidly dropped, leaving only half. This move is extremely effective. Why is the damage so high? Zarshan's expression changed slightly. Generally speaking, even if play has some restraint when biting land sharks, the damage cannot be that much. Although Big Mouth Baby's abilities in all aspects have improved a lot after Mega evolved, biting land shark's strength is much stronger than Big Mouth Baby's. By the way, this Big Mouth Baby's stat isn't a bullying stat. It's most likely a strange strength stat. The pincer stat means that the opponent's attack won't be reduced, and the strength stat allows Pokémons to use more powerful moves in battle. If there's another round of fun, the land shark can be hammered to death if it bites hard. This isn't right. Bite the land shark fiercely and attack with sharp rocks. Thinking of this, Zarshan already had the answer in his heart and quickly gave the order. Bite Lu Shark endured Big Mouth Baby's attack, quickly waved its tail, threw it on the ground, shook out a large stone, and shot towards Big Mouth Baby. The Big Mouth Baby who was attacking was hit by the stone. The powerful force came and immediately flew back. After retreating more than 10 meters, the big mouth baby finally stabilized its figure and its blood volume dropped a lot again. After biting the land shark, only 1/3 remained. Big mouth baby, run over and attack playfully. Although Big Mouth Baby suffered a lot of damage, judging from the effect of the attack just now, the damage suffered by Leebite Land Shark was still enough. If this continues, Big Mouth Baby will have a chance of defeating Leebite Land Shark. Therefore, the mountaineering uncle will naturally not let go of this opportunity and repeat his old tricks. Looking at the big-mouthed child who rushed over again, Zarshan's eyes flashed with light. Lie-biting land shark, you stig. Just as Big Mouth Baby was about to rush in front of Lie-biting Land Shark began to make moves. I saw Lie-bite Land Shark showing its sharp claws and scratching the ground, while its two arms began to dig rapidly. In an instant, a hole large enough to accommodate its figure was formed. Lie-bite Land Shark also got into the hole and Big Mouth Baby immediately lost its target. Big Mouth Baby's attack missed and it bit the land shark. Big Mouth Boy, pay attention to feeling the ground to avoid sneak attacks by land sharks. The hillbilly uncle's face changed slightly and a solemn expression appeared on his face. If the land shark attacks the Big Mouth Baby, it is very likely that it will lose its fighting ability. The Big Mouth Boy stood in the middle of the field, quietly observing the surroundings, with a vigilant look in his eyes. Without the sight of the biting land shark, he is now like a blind man. He can only hear and perceive everything with his ears. However, soon, Big Mouth Baby's face became a little ugly because he couldn't find any traces of having bitten the land shark. However, at this moment, at Big Mouth Baby's feet, Lie-bite Loo Shark has arrived below Big Mouth Baby. Lie-bite Loo Shark's eyes showed a fierce light, and he stretched out his claws to scratch the ground. Boom. There was a bang, and the Lie-bite Land Shark burst out of the ground and slammed hard at Big Mouth Baby. Big Mouth Baby was observing the surrounding situation and suddenly felt a vibration under his feet. He just wanted to make a move, but at this moment, the biting land shark had already burst out of the ground. In the blink of an eye, the attack of the biting land shark directly bombarded the body of Big Mouth Baby. Bang! Big Mouth Baby was directly bombarded and flew backwards. The entire body fell heavily to the ground and rolled several times. When he stopped, his health had already bottomed out and he lost his ability to fight. After losing the ability to fight, Big Mouth Baby's super evolved form also degenerated into its normal form and fell to the ground. Roar. Leegi Lush looked at the Big Mouth Baby who fell to the ground and let out a roar, as if to say, he won this battle. Seeing that Big Mouth Boy was still defeated, the mountaineering uncle was also a little speechless. He took a deep breath, looked at the Lie-bite Land Shark on the field, and said, it seems that there is still a small gap in strength between my Big Mouth Baby and the Lie-bite Land Shark. So, Uncle Mountaineer withdrew his big mouth. Young man, please release Charizard in the next game. Hearing this, Zarshan nodded, took back the biting land shark, and replaced it with Charizard's Pokémon Ball. There was a flash of white light, and the tall figure of the fire-breathing dragon appeared on the field. As soon as it appeared, the fire-breathing dragon opened its big mouth and shot a stream of flames into the sky. Seeing the appearance of Charizard, Uncle Mountaineer also smiled. It seems that Charizard has recovered well, and is quite energetic. Uncle Mountaineer took out a Poké Ball and threw it onto the field. There was a flash of white light, and his second Pokémon entered the scene. This is a level 46 Cordora boss. A huge body over 2 meters tall stood in the middle of the field with a ferocious aura, looking like a battle-hardened warrior. Although Charizard is considered huge for its species, it is still a head shorter than Boscadora. Are they all steel-type Pokémon? Zarshan was also surprised when he saw that the second Pokémon was a Boscadora. It seems that this mountaineering guy has a soft spot for steel-type Pokémon. Chapter 90 Tragic Victory. However, Boscadora and Charizard restrained each other. In this battle, the scale of victory may still fall on Charizard's side. Charizard, spray flames. The Charizard opened its mouth and a jet of flames erupted, shooting towards Boscadora. As the flame beam pierced through the air became distorted due to the high temperature. Boscadora, wait. The mountaineer uncle naturally knew the power of the fire-breathing dragon's attack and quickly asked Boscadora to defend. I saw Boscadora's thick arms crossed in front of his chest, taking a defensive stance. When the fire-breathing dragon's attack was about to hit Boscadora, Boscadora's arm emitted a white light and struck hard towards the flame beam. In an instant, Boscadora directly dispersed this jet of flames and dissipated into the air. The punch didn't work, leaving Zacian a little speechless. In fact, the defense skills are a little frustrating at certain times. Charizard, large characters burst into flames. Hearing the order, Charizard spewed out a stream of flames directly in front of him, condensing into a large character. When the large character was condensed and completed, it advanced towards the Boscadora. Boscadora, Metal Claws, disperse the large character explosive flames. A burst of white light emitted from Boscadora's claws as the large character explosive flames floated out, causing it to fall down fiercely. A powerful wind blew through the void, and a sharp whistling sound could be heard. This large explosion of flames was directly dispersed by Boscadora. Is it okay? Zacian was stunned for a moment, with a look of surprise in his eyes. He didn't expect that these two attacks would actually be defended by Boscadora. Young man, although my Boscadora has no advantage against the fire-breathing dragon, I have specially trained Boscadora's fire resistance. The mountaineering uncle smiled slightly and explained. He has been cultivating this Boscadora for a long time, and knows that the steel Pokémon's weakness is its fear of fire. To this end, he specially conducted fire resistance training for Boscadora, as well as how to use unique skills to defeat fire attacks. Next, it's our turn to attack. Boscadora, a huge impact. Boscadora ran, and its huge body seemed to turn into a heavy tank, rolling around. The entire ground trembled violently as Boscadora ran, as if an earthquake had occurred. Boscadora can be ranked among the top Pokémons on the Pokémon waitlist. This kind of weight is really terrifying. Sensing the ground tremble, Zacian's complexion also changed slightly. The heavier the Pokémon, the more powerful the damage it can cause. If Charizard were to take such a beating, it would definitely not be much better. However, don't forget, Charizard can fly. Its wings are not decorations. If you can't defend it, why can't you hide it? Charizard, fly and avoid it. Facing the Boscadora that was rolling like a torrent of steel, Charizard's expression was also a little solemn. Hearing Zacian's order, it quickly flapped its wings and wanted to fly into the sky. This is what I've been waiting for. A smile suddenly appeared on the mountaineering uncle's face. Boscadora, rockfall. After hearing the order, Boscadora's huge tail whipped the ground forcefully as it ran, shaking off a huge rock. Then, its tail flicked fiercely, and the rock shot violently towards the fire-breathing dragon that had just flown into the air. Not good. Zacian's heart suddenly shouted, Charizard, split the rock with your special move. The flying rock rapidly magnified before Charizard's eyes, and it was about to hit it. At this moment, a white light suddenly lit up on Charizard's claws. Then, Charizard's claws forcefully slashed at the rock. Boom. The enormous force directly caused the rock to break into two halves and fall to the ground. There's something. A hint of surprise flashed across the mountaineering uncle's eyes. He didn't expect Zacian to use this method to defend against the rock avalanches. Charizard, Purgatory. The Charizard suspended in midair flew towards Boscadora, opened its mouth, and a plume of flames shot out from its mouth. Under the control of the fire-breathing dragon, the beam of flame directly engulfed Boscadora's body. Roar. Boscadora, who was engulfed in flames, suddenly let out a roar of pain. Despite its fire resistance training, fire attacks were still extremely effective against it. In an instant, Boscadora's blood volume was reduced by half. Outstanding effect. Boscadora, endure the sharp stone attack. The mountaineering uncle frowned and quickly ordered. The current situation is extremely unfavorable for Boscadora. If you don't fight back, you can only be passively defeated, which is too frustrating. Fortunately, Boscadora can also use long-range attacks. Hearing the order, Boscadora endured the pain of the flames and slammed its thick tail hard on the ground. A huge boulder rose into the air, and under the impact of Boscadora's arm, it flew towards the fire-breathing dragon in the air. Charizard, get out of the way. Facing the flying boulder, Charizard quickly soared into the sky and avoided the sharp stone attack. After Charizard escaped the sharp stone attack, Zacian ordered again, "Charizard, give it the last blow, hot wind." Charizard suspended in the air, his eyes shining, and his wide wings flapping. Immediately, a stream of heat formed in front of the fire-breathing dragon, turning into gusts of wind that headed towards Boscadora on the ground. The heat hit him, making Boscadora feel uncomfortable for a while, with a pained expression on his face. Exposed to the hot wind, Boscadora's blood volume continued to decrease, and was about to bottom out. Ouch! Seeing this situation, the mountaineering uncle also sighed softly. He knew in his heart that Boscadora would find it difficult to win this battle. However, even if he is about to fall, he cannot make it easy for the other party. Thinking of this, the mountaineering uncle had already made up his mind. He looked at the fire-breathing dragon in the air and ordered the Boscadora, Metal Explosion, and Ultimate Trick. He can vigorously return the damage of the ultimate move to the opponent. A dazzling white light suddenly appeared from Boscadora's body and spread across the entire battlefield in the blink of an eye. This intense light could even be felt in the air. The fire-breathing dragon in the air felt the destructive power of the light, and a solemn expression appeared on its face. In the blink of an eye, this light grew stronger and stronger. Boom. Immediately afterwards, a huge explosion sounded, and the entire battlefield was filled with thick dust and mist. A violent shockwave swept across the entire battlefield, and even the fire-breathing dragon in the air was severely impacted. Upon receiving this impact, Charizard was unable to control its body for a moment, and fell into the air. The fire-breathing dragon's blood volume was also reduced to a quarter in an instant. After a while, the smoke dissipated, and Boscadora fell to the field, losing the ability to fight. Looking at Charizard, who still had a quarter of its health left, Zacian also showed a wry smile. "You held back such a big move in the end." Although Charizard obtained the final victory in this battle, this was not the case. It was simply a miserable victory. Chapter 91 Reward, Promotion to Intermediate Trainer. Young man, congratulations on your victory. At this moment, the mountaineer uncle walked up to Zacian and said with a smile. Hearing this, Zacian smiled. No, the main reason is that the fire-breathing dragon and the biting land shark are very strong. The mountaineer uncle shook his head. You don't have to be modest. I can see that you are a strong trainer. At first, I thought that Big Mouth Baby and Boscadora were strong enough to challenge them, but I didn't expect that their strength would still be so much lower. The mountaineer uncle sighed. Seeing this, Zacian comforted him. Uncle, your strength is also very strong. You can fight the fire-breathing dragon and the biting land shark to such an extent. You are much stronger than ordinary trainers. No one is as powerful as you. The mountaineer uncle smiled and said, actually, I was also a gym trainer. Later, because I like to collect some special and precious stones, I gave up being a gym trainer. Oh. Zacian was stunned for a moment, a surprised expression on his face. So you know a trainer named Dago? Zacian asked curiously. In Pokémon, Dago is also a stone collector, champion of the Fangyuan League, heir of the Duan Company, and a Steel Attribute expert trainer. It would be inappropriate to leave a good champion alone and go digging for rocks, and there would be no one left. Do? When the mountaineering uncle heard the name, he shook his head and said, I don't know him. What? What do you want to see him for? The mountaineering uncle asked doubtfully. Haha, it's nothing, I'm just asking. He's a stone collector too. Zacian said with a smile. Well, I must meet you, if I get the chance. The mountaineer uncle had a happy expression on his face, obviously happy to have someone with the same hobbies as him. By the way, I have 2 things here that can be useful to you. As a reward for defeating me, I'll give it to you now. With that said, the mountaineer uncle took off the backpack behind him and rummaged around and took out 2 stones. This is Super Evolution Stone. Zacian was stunned for a moment, and then a surprised expression appeared on his face. Not bad. The mountaineer uncle nodded and said, these 2 are the Super Evolution Stones of the fire-breathing dragon and the biting land shark. I hope they can be of help to you. Zacian quickly thanked. There was also a hint of joy in my heart. Unexpectedly, there was an unexpected gain. Ding. Congratulations to the player, you have received a gift from the Mountaineer Uncle. Charizard X Super Evolution Stone, Biting Land Shark Super Evolution Stone. 100 times bonus, get Charizard X Evolution Stones x 100. 100 times benefits, get the amount of Biting Land Shark Super Evolution Stones x 100. Taking the evolution stone handed over by the mountaineering uncle, Zacian directly put one each on Charizard and Biting Land Shark. The remaining evolution stones were all put into the backpack. However, even if you have obtained the Mega Evolution Stone, you still cannot Mega Evolve without the Evolution Key Stone. You must get an Evolution Key Stone. Zacian thought in his heart. After parting ways with the mountaineering uncle, Zacian took out the teleportation menu and spent 500 Pokemon coins to directly teleport back to the base. Returning to the base, Zacian first put the loot into the backpack in the fruit trees were already in bloom, and there was still some time left for them to bear fruit. Later, Zacian went to the breeding pasture to take a look and found that some Pokémon had laid some eggs again. Collecting and hatching eggs is like opening a treasure chest. The type of Pokémon that can be found depends entirely on luck. Although there are dog traps, not all Pokémon eggs can inherit the qualifications of their parents. Zacian took out the grass bucket and collected all the eggs that he laid. After doing this, Zacian adjusted the Pokémon in the ranch bucket, trying to make them achieve the most perfect configuration. Zacian even put the previous Pokémon, such as Crystal Rock Snake and other Pokémon in the PC, into the grass buckets to breed. After organizing the breeding ground, Zacian took out the PC and checked the Pokémon eggs. His team also needs readjustment. The Pokémon he currently carries include the level 54 Pikachu, the level 54 Frostmilk Fairy, the level 54 Arrow Eagle, the level 54 Fairy Eevee, the level 55 Charizard, and the level 55 Biting Land Shark. After thinking about it, Zacian put the Frostmilk Fairy into the breeding pasture and paired it with a variety monster. The qualifications of the Frostmilk Fairy are not particularly good. Now that the qualification standards in the team have improved, the Frostmilk Fairy will not play a major role in the later stage. It is better to breed a highly qualified Frostmilk Fairy. Pikachu, Charizard, and Biting Land Shark should remain in the team. Fairy Eevee is temporarily placed in the team to take the place of the Frostmilk Fairy. The Fierce Arrow Eagle has the property of a fire body, which is very effective in hatching Pokémon eggs. This one must be kept. Calculated in this way, there is still one spot left. After thinking for a while, Zacian took out the Pokémon egg from Lalulus. Speaking of which, there are no super type Pokémon in his team, so I don't know what this Lalulas's qualifications are. Let's hatch it first. The dates of the fishing conference and the Novice Village Championship tournament are not far away, and now we still need to improve our ranking. After all, Zacian was only a 3-star junior trainer. It doesn't match his Pokémon level at all. The fishing conference requires an intermediate trainer or above to register, and Zacian is not eligible at all now. Thinking of this, Zacian took out the teleportation menu and directly teleported to Novice Village. The fastest way to improve your rank is naturally to play ranked battles. Of course, another way is to challenge the gym. In addition, you can also get rewards after defeating the gym. However, it also takes some time to challenge the gym. Except for some powerful players, the most important way for ordinary players to improve their rank is to participate in ranked battles. Because, comparing these two methods, ranked matching is faster. With Zacian's current strength, participating in ranked matches would be like killing indiscriminately. After all, he is already at the top of the Pokémon ranking list. Zacian started ranking matchmaking, and it didn't take long for the match to be successful. Later, Zacian was teleported to the battle center. However, 5 minutes after entering the battle center, Zacian was teleported again. His rank points increased a little. Almost effortless, Zacian defeated 6 with a Pikachu and won. Zacian opened the ranking system again and quickly entered the battle center. It didn't take long for Zacian's rank to rise to the 4-star junior trainer stage. With the crazy battle in the summer, there was a slaughter between the junior and intermediate ranks. His rank rose rapidly. He was soon promoted to the 1-star intermediate trainer stage. But he didn't stop and continued to play ranked matches. Chapter 92 comments on the launch. This book will be on the shelves today at noon. I would like to thank editor Ren Iloch for his strong support of this book. Some time ago, because the update was unstable, I was given special education. Although I stopped updating for a few days, Loach still recommended it to me. Overall, this book has quite a few shortcomings. When I first opened it, some of the settings were imperfect, resulting in many bugs. This book is not written about the Minecraft Pokémon server. It just evolved according to some game methods it contains. It is normal for it to be different from the server. This is the first time I have written about Pokémons, and it is an unpopular topic like the Minecraft Pokémon module. My writing skills are limited, so please forgive me for my poor writing. Generally speaking, the data in this book is not very good. I don't know how many readers are reading it. However, if someone reads it, the book will be complete. The eunuch is a bit of a bad character. In the past 16 years, I wrote a book about Xianxia with over 1 million words. It was a popular novel, and only sold for 10. I finished it all. You may not be able to see the starting point, but you will be able to see it as you read. Of course, this is not an advertisement, it is just to say that I successfully finished my trash book and I will finish this one as well. To be honest, this should be considered my second book. I'm not a particularly experienced author, so I try not to write anything poisonous. This is simply a funny and meaningless article. For those who are critical and say that it is illogical, that it is different from the Minecraft Pokémon server, and that this book is trash, I don't expect you to read much. If you don't want to read it, just click the cross button. I don't make a living by writing books. I have my own job, and writing books is just a part-time job. I know my own level of strength, and I'm not a great god or a big boss. I simply write my thoughts and share them with you. If you have any good suggestions and ideas, you are also welcome to put forward them in the book review. I will adopt what I think is appropriate. You are also welcome to join the chat group and tell me. A book friend made a lot of suggestions before. Thank you Zingmayo. I won't mention the specific names here because it is inconvenient. Thank you all for your support for this book, recommendation votes, monthly votes, and rewards. Starcat would like to thank everyone here. Book club number 1,070,037,336. Please look for. I will definitely become a Pokemon master. Doghead saves lives. I will try my best to update as much as I can. I'm quite busy with work, so I'm sorry. Thank you again for your support. Chapter 93 registration for the fishing conference begins. With the crazy summer ranking, his ranking has also continued to improve. It wasn't until the intermediate trainer reached 5 stars that Zacian stopped being matched on the ranking. From 1-star to 5-star intermediate trainer, Zacian played a total of 20 games. Although every time they fought, they were crushed by the summer Pokémon with great force, this still made him a little dizzy. After all, after every battle, you have to teleport out of the battle center and then return to it. It would be strange if you didn't get dizzy. However, the good news is that it's all worth it. Zacian had just left the battle center when a server-wide announcement suddenly popped up. Byte. Server-wide announcement. The registration period for the fishing conference will begin at 1500 hours today. Players who want to participate in the fishing conference, please head to the Pokémon Center to register. As soon as this message came out, the entire chat channel became lively. Damn, this fishing tournament has finally started. I wonder what the new Gamma plays? I saw the update introduction earlier, and it seems like the rewards are very rich. You can get some. There is a queue. No, the announcement has just come out, and the Pokémon Center in Novice Village is already packed with people. Zacian thought in his heart, after reading this message. The fishing competition has finally started. I don't know what the competition method will be. Although it was mentioned in the previous update information, it was just a general situation. You still need to go to the Pokémon Center to understand the specific rules. When Zacian arrived at the Pokémon Center, there was already a sea of people and a long queue. Although this competition limits participation by rank, if you count the players from all over the country, there are still many players above the intermediate trainer level. After waiting for a long time, it was finally Zarshian's turn. At the registration counter for the fishing conference, there was an NPC in a yellow uniform who walked up to the NPC and said, "Hello, I want to participate in the fishing conference." The NPC in a yellow uniform nodded and said that it is detected that the player's rank matches the registration conditions. Please pay 500 Pokemon coins as a registration fee. Zarshian was surprised when he heard this. Is there still a registration fee? 500 Pokemon coins to participate in the fishing conference? Although Zarshian was a little confused, he still paid 500 Pokemon coins. Ding. Congratulations to the player for successfully signing up for the fishing conference. After successfully paying the fee in the summer, the yellow NPC continued, "Next, I will tell you the rules of the fishing conference after signing. If you sign up for the fishing conference, you will receive 20 special balls. It is used as a bait ball to capture the participating Pokémons. Only Pokémons caught with the special balls are valid for the fishing competition. Pokémons caught by other Pokémon balls are not allowed, and Pokémons caught by the player must be in the game. Otherwise, Pokémons caught in the water will be invalid. Each player can submit 5 Pokémons for selection. As long as 3 Pokémons have the power, the highest ratings, they can compete in the finals. Players who do not meet the standards will be eliminated. After entering the finals, the ratings will be ranked, and the top 300 will compete in the final tournament. The decisive tournament's objectives are to use 3 participating Pokémon to compete, and the final winner will be the champion of this fishing conference. You will obtain a powerful fishing rod, heart drops, 100 magic candies, character experience points, reputation points, and a permanent golden title, Fishing Master. Do you understand? Zarshian nodded and said, "I understand. Please put away your special competition balls." They to Zarshian. Ding. Congratulations to the player for obtaining X20 bait balls, the special balls for the fishing conference. 100 times the income, you will obtain X100 of the bait balls, the special balls for the fishing conference. Zarshian was stunned for a moment, and then came to his senses. In other words, others could only choose 20 Pokémon to conquer, but he could conquer them without worrying about the talents of the Pokémon he caught. With the blessing of winning 100 times more, he now has a backpack with special bait balls, which are enough for him to lose everything at will. Thinking of this, Zarshian felt a hint of joy in his heart for no reason. Later, Zarshian opened the teleportation menu, looked at it, found a novice village near the beach, spent 500 Pokémon coins, and teleported there. When Zarshian arrived at the beach, he was surprised to find that the beach was already full of people. It has basically been occupied by players. Every 10 meters, there is a player fishing there. Most players still use old fishing rods, junk fishing rods made from Pokémon balls, and wooden sticks, which can only catch some common Pokémon, such as Magikarp. If you are lucky, you might be able to catch some rare Pokémon, but the chances are slim. Secondly, it is a good fishing rod. If you have a good fishing rod, you can also craft it. Its materials are high quality fiery rods and balls. The fishing rod is a relatively rare material, so only a small number of players can use a good fishing rod. The rarest thing is the powerful fishing rod. Although it is rare, it is not impossible. On the beach in summer, I saw at least several players using powerful fishing rods. However, compared to Zarshian's fishing rods, the powerful fishing rods of powerful players seem a bit ordinary. You know, Zarshian's powerful fishing rod has been blessed with 100 times greater profits, and has been valued by an old fisherman. Its chance of catching rare Pokémons and items has reached a terrifying 13%. A generally powerful fishing rod only has a 5% chance, a good fishing rod has a 3% chance, and an old fishing rod has even less chance, with only a 1% chance. Zarshian looked at the nearby beach, and found that there was no place left, so he had no choice but to walk to the farther beach. After finding a place with fewer players, Zarshian took out a powerful fishing rod and threw the float into the sea. The float drew a beautiful arc in the air and fell into the sea. Then, 3 jumping points appeared on the float. Zacian looked at the 3 points from a distance, waiting for the Pokémon to take the bait. Before long, the point on the float turned into an exclamation mark. Zacian's eyes narrowed, and he quickly picked up the fishing rod. Suddenly, a red figure jumped out of the sea and was dragged ashore. It's the Carp King. Zacian raised his eyebrows and had no intention of subduing the Carp King, because there are already 2 Gyarados in his breeding pasture, and if they are conquered again, it will be of little use. He might as well let this Magikarp serve as the experience and pure energy of the pearl. Thinking of this, Zacian quickly released Pikachu. There was a flash of white light and Pikachu appeared on the field. Pikachu, electric shock, kill Magikarp. A powerful electric current erupted from Pikachu. The Magikarp King was penetrated by an electric current, and its entire body was burned by the electricity, emitting a dark grey smoke. Magikarp's blood volume instantly bottomed out and disappeared in a white light. Instantly kill with a single hit. To be honest, if Pikachu fights the water fairies now, it's basically like punching a child. Ding. Pikachu gets 2000 experience points. With a hundredfold buff, Pikachu gets 200,000 experience points. After defeating the Carp King, Zacian threw the float into the sea again. Chapter 94 Silver Crown, the ugliest fish. Second update. Not long after, 3 exclamation marks suddenly appeared on the floats in the sea. Taken the bait. Rare Pokémon? Zacian looked at the 3 exclamation marks that appeared, with a hint of surprise on his face. Generally speaking, if 1 exclamation mark appears, it represents common Pokémons, and if 2 exclamation marks appear, it represents relatively rare Pokémons. The 3 exclamation marks are rare Pokémons. Zacian did not hesitate, and directly pulled the lever to stand up. Wow. The float in the sea suddenly jumped up, and drew a beautiful arc in the air. However, according to Zacian's expectations, what was caught this time was not a Pokémon, but props and items. Ding. Congratulations to the player for obtaining the diamond block. 100 times the income. The number of diamond blocks obtained x 100. Zacian shook his head helplessly, thinking that it was a rare Pokémon. Later, Zacian threw the float into the sea again. Exclamation mark. It was thrown into the sea less than a minute later. Something has taken the bait again. Zacian raises the pole again. Wow. A level 35 brown Pokémon appeared in Zacian's sight. Aplisha? Aplisha is a water and land Pokémon, and it is relatively rare in the sea. Moreover, this sea hare is a species from the West Sea, relatively rare. Thinking of this, Zacian directly threw the special bait ball out. Anyway, he has a lot of balls. 2000 balls, 20 groups. Just throw a few blindly. Buzz, 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 buzz. The sea rabbit struggled a few times, and the bait ball suddenly exploded. Bang. Aplisha's figure appeared on the beach again. This bait ball is so watery. Zacian was speechless, and continued to throw a bait ball out. However, Aplisha was still able to fight back. I don't believe it. Zacian frowned, and threw a bait ball again. After the sea rabbit struggled a few times, it was finally subdued by Zacian. Ding. Congratulations to the player for conquering the Aplisha. Ding. Since the Pokémons carried by the player are full, the Aplisha was automatically transferred to the PC. Aplisha. Moderate qualifications. Zacian sighed and continued to throw the float. Ding. Congratulations to the player for obtaining Zipika Z's accessories. 100 times the income. You will get x 100 of Zipika Z's pure crystals. You actually caught the Z pure crystal? A surprised expression appeared on Zacian's face, and he quickly took out the Z pure crystal from his backpack. ZHI Pika Z. After being carried by Pikachu and wearing a hat, it can convert 100,000 volts into a special Z move, 10 million volts. Isn't this the pure crystal that belongs to the god of fur? Zacian's face showed surprise. Then, he took out a smart Pika Z and asked Pikachu to carry it. When Zacian put the Z pure crystal on Pikachu, a red and white hat suddenly appeared on Pikachu's head, with a Z pattern on the front. Specifically refer to Zaos's hat. The dog's head saves his life. However, although I have the Z pure crystal, I don't have the Z bracelet. Zacian frowned, a little confused. Without the Z bracelet, the power of the smart pickup Z cannot be exerted. Let's see how to get the Z bracelet later. Zacian came to his senses and continued to throw the float into the sea. At this moment, not far away, a player suddenly shouted, "Fuck, Gyarados." When the player pulled the lever, a huge figure appeared on the beach. The player then entered the battle, and after more than 10 minutes, he finally subdued the Gyarados. I'm envious, I actually caught a Gyarados. I'm speechless. Why are all the Magikarps and Horntails I caught able to catch a Gyarados? I can only catch them. That person just used a good fishing rod. Oh, it would be great if I had a good fishing rod. There are people selling good fishing rods in the chat channel now, but it's a bit expensive. 100,000 Pokemon coins. Is it that expensive? You're trying to steal money. No way. The fire rod is a bit hard to get, and it's normal for the price to be like this. Stop giving the fishing competition. Zacian retracted his gaze and threw the float into the sea again. It didn't take long. I wonder what it will be this time. Zacian's face showed an expression of expectation, and then he pulled the fishing rod fiercely. Ding. Congratulations to the player, you have obtained the silver crown. 100 times the income, the amount of silver crowns obtained x 100. It turns out to be a silver crown. Zacian naturally knows the effect of the silver crown. In Pokemon, the silver crown can increase the individual value of the Pokémon. I don't know what the effect of the silver crown is in this game. Give to Uncle Extreme as a reward for extreme special training to raise the rating of a level 100 Pokémon to the maximum. Note, it will only strengthen the rating, and cannot be used for egg-laying inheritance. Can't it be inherited? Although it is the same as the silver crown. Its original function was similar, but Zacian was not disappointed either. This is equivalent to giving those special Pokémons that cannot reproduce offspring a support to improve their ratings. Overall, the effect is quite good. It can be used by Crystal Rock Snake, Red Gyarados, and Zombie Gyarados. Zacian thought for a moment and had an idea in mind. But let's get to the point now. After putting away the silver crown, Zacian threw the float into the sea again. A level 18 horned goldfish. Zacian directly asked Pikachu to electrocute the goldfish to death. He had no idea about conquering this ordinary Pokemon. Ding. Pikachu gets 1500 experience points. With a hundredfold benefit, Pikachu gets 150,000 experience points. At the same time, when fishing in the summer, the surrounding players also caught many Pokemons that were usually rare. What about the devouring turtle, Lala seaweed, steel cannon arm shrimp, good and evil star, weak tench, and fist sea cucumber? Even the Yuuzhan family caught a few, including Squirtle, little crocodile, etc. At this moment, Zacian's float finally started moving again. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. 3 exclamation marks suddenly appeared. Without any hesitation, Zacian directly took out the fishing rod. I saw a small yellowish brown fish with bumps all over its body, being picked up by Zacian. The surrounding players laughed out loud when they saw Zacian catch something like that. Damn, I thought Magikarp was enough, but I didn't expect there to be an uglier Pokemon than Magikarp. That's just an ugly fish. It's even more trash than Magikarp. Mine. The starter Pokemon is just an ugly fish, and it's of high quality, but it's a pity that it can't evolve. King Magikarp can at least evolve into Gyarados, and Salted Fish can turn around. That's why I said this ugly fish is trash. Chow Chow Fish has reached level 22, but it only knows 2 skills. One is Water Splash, and the other is Impact, and it almost got angry. I really don't know why they designed a trash Pokemon like this. It's just disgusting. The sounds of discussion around him naturally reached Zacian's ears. He simply shook his head and smiled, ignoring everyone. After using 3 special bait balls, I finally subdued this ugly fish. The ugly fish's evolution method is quite special. One is to carry beautiful scales for communication evolution, and then it can evolve into Menace, and achieve the 18th transformation of a woman. The other is to evolve the ugly fish by improving its beauty. Zacian didn't know if there was beauty in this game, but it turns out that he has beautiful scales. or challenge the insect gym. It's time to buy. At this moment, it came in handy. Chapter 95. Do you have any misunderstanding? Zarshian took out the PC and checked the qualifications of Chow Chow fish. Ugly fish level 18. Gender female. Attribute water features, swim freely. Hidden features, adaptability. Body type normal. Life rating purple. Attack rating red. Defense rating purple. Special attack rating gold. Special defense rating purple. Speed rating red. Comprehensive combat power 230. Intimacy 50. Skills water jump LV5, impact LV4. Carrying accessories none. Overall, the qualifications are pretty good. It should be enough to participate in the fishing conference. Zarshian took the PC and was about to swing the rod again when several players approached. It turns out to be the Great Red God. I didn't expect to meet the legendary Great Red God here. My goodness, what you just conquered is an ugly fish? At this moment, a player asked. When Zarshian heard this, he nodded. Yeah, what's wrong? The player kindly said, kids, I advise you to release that ugly fish. It may not evolve, but it's also extremely ugly. It's probably the ugliest water Pokémon. My starter Pokémon is also an ugly fish, and Magikarp can evolve into Gyarados at level 20. That piece of trash of mine is just that. The Chow Chow fish reaches level 22. Not only can it not evolve, but it can only use the two trash skills of Water Splash and Impact. It's just a bastard from Zenwu. Yes, Kaidashin, this Chow Chow fish is just a bastard. That's all. It's better to catch other Pokémons. Several players agreed. Hearing this, Zarshian also smiled and said, it's okay, I just saw that this Pokémon is relatively rare, so I caught it casually. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, Kaidashin, come to the fishing conference. I was watching it in the chat channel. The boss on the ranking list caught a high quality western lion, and it is said to be extremely beautiful. In fact, the only one that is more beautiful and famous is the western lion, although there are more female bosses, but the appearance is still passable. Zarshian laughed and shook his head and understood in his heart that most players may have misunderstandings about Pokémons like ugly fish. After all, the conditions for the evolution of ugly fish are tough, and there is no evolved ugly fish Mina yet. This situation is also very normal. However, in the finals, Zarshian will make them understand that besides the water Pokémons, in addition to the western lion and heron, there is also a handsome Pokémon. Later, Zarshian cast the float again. Soon after, two exclamation marks appeared. Exclamation mark. Seeing this, Zarshian quickly picked up the powerful fishing rod. I saw a huge shadow emerging from the sea. In the blink of an eye, the waves rolled and became rough, as if some wild beast was about to appear. All the surrounding players noticed what was happening here, with surprised expressions on their faces. Damn it, what's going on? What did Kaidashin catch? I've watched you for a long time. Is it a roaring whale? It's so big. It seems like it's really powerful. He must be using a powerful fishing rod. Wow, it's hard to get a good fishing rod, but there is a powerful fishing rod. Finally, a huge black shadow emerged from the water, but it was to everyone's surprise. This Pokémon was not the huge Pokémon everyone had guessed. Instead, it was a tiny weak tench. Crap, it's actually a tench. How is this possible? How can a tench be so big? This is the first time I've seen a tench in this form. Newbie, yides. The players around were all dumbfounded, their faces filled with disbelief. This was the first time they had seen this weak tench form appear. Looking at the huge black shadow in the sea, judging from the information, it is a level 25 weak tench. A weak skull-shaped tench. Zarshian was also slightly surprised, and then released Pikachu. Pikachu, 100,000 volts, kill it. As for the tench, Zarshian had no idea to conquer it. How should he put it? The weak skull-shaped tench might be stronger, but that's all. Following Zarshian's order, Pikachu's 100,000 volts suddenly erupted and shot towards the weak tench in the sea. ZHI. A strong electric light illuminated the entire sea surface. In an instant, the players on the beach were almost blinded by the flash. The weak skull-shaped tench was instantly killed by Pikachu's attack. Outstanding effect. Ding. Pikachu has gained 3000 experience points. With a 100-fold buff, Pikachu has gained 300,000 experience points. Ding. Pikachu's level has increased to level 55, and the overall combat power is 450. Ding. We received dropped items. Raw fish X1! Exclamation mark. Damn, amazing. Instant kill with one hit. What's wrong? Red God Pikachu's level is so high. Isn't it easy to hit a water Pokémon? Do it. Instant kill. But have you noticed why Red God Pikachu is wearing a hat? Suddenly, a sharp-eyed player saw the hat on Zaya Pikachu's head and said in surprise. Hearing what the player said, the other players also set their gaze on Summer Pikachu. Sure enough, just as the player said, a red and white hat appeared on Pikachu's head. How did you do this? It seems that Red God only has one high-quality Pikachu, right? He can still dress up the Pokémon with clothes? Did Red God catch another high-level Pikachu? Okay. It should be his starter Pokémon. Maybe there is some special plot. It is said that there are some strange rewards for finding special tasks or plots. Envy. Why have I never encountered any special plots? Zacian threw the float again and threw it into the sea. Soon, an exclamation mark appeared on the floating head again. It is a level 24 Savage Base. Summer releases Pikachu again and defeats Savage Base. Ding. Pikachu gained 3,500 experience points. With a 100-fold benefit, Pikachu gained 350,000 experience points. Ding. Obtain dropped items. Raw fish X1. 100 times the income. Obtain dropped items. The amount of raw fish X100. Zacian spun the fishing rod a few more times and caught a level 37 gem starfish, level 17 Kami turtle, level 27 blue crocodile, and level 31 sea thorny dragon. However, the grades of these Pokémons are not particularly high and do not meet Zacian's requirements. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. 3 exclamation marks appeared on the float again. Zacian raised the fishing rod with great expectation. Ding. Congratulations to the player for obtaining X1 Emerald. 100 times the income. The amount of emeralds obtained X100. After Zacian saw that he could no longer catch any rare Pokémon, he was also ready to change locations. Besides fishing by the seaside, there are also swampy grounds and small lakes in the forest. Thinking of this, Zacian opened the teleportation menu and planned to go to the swampy ground to take a look first. After spending 500 Pokémon coins, Zacian's figure disappeared on the seashore and teleported towards the swampy ground. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96 The Ultimate Rating, Koga Ninja. 4th update. When the light appeared in front of his eyes again, Zacian had already arrived at a novice village near a swampy terrain. After leaving Novice Village, Zacian walked towards the swamp. Arriving at the edge of the swamp, Zacian found that there were also many players fishing at the edge of the swamp. After turning around, the shore was already filled with players. In desperation, Zacian had to look for another place. Zacian looked at the water in the middle of the swamp. There were some lotus leaves. He thought of Zacian entering the swamp and planned to swim to those lotus leaves. The water in this swampy terrain is still quite deep. After entering the water in summer, a series of bubbles suddenly appeared in front of my eyes. Every 2 minutes, a bubble disappears, representing the time Zacian can hold his breath in the water. If all the bubbles disappear, Zacian's blood volume will also decrease. After entering the water, Zacian floated up for air again. In this way, Zacian slowly swam towards the lotus leaf area in the center of the water. After a while, Zacian finally stood on the lotus leaf. After regaining his strength, Zacian took out his powerful fishing rod and prepared to fish here. Throw the float into the water, and summer awaits you leisurely. Soon after, the float started to move. Zacian suddenly raised the fishing rod, and a level 19 Carp King appeared in front of him. Pikachu, kill it. Seeing that it was Magikarp, Zacian released Pikachu without even thinking. As soon as Pikachu appeared, an electric shock was fired. ZHI. The golden light flashed, and the Carp King's blood volume was instantly emptied. Then it turned into a white light and disappeared. Ding. Pikachu gained 2900 experience points. With a hundredfold benefit, Pikachu gained 290,000 experience points. Ding. Obtain the dropped raw fish X1. 100 times the benefits. Get the dropped item. The amount of raw fish X100. Seeing that the dropped item is raw fish again, Zacian thought for a moment, this thing is too much. It was useless, and he threw all the raw fish he had obtained before into the swamp. Then, Zacian threw the float into the water again. Exclamation mark exclamation mark. Huh, you took the bait so quickly? Zacian was also a little surprised. Not even a minute had passed since he dropped it. Without any hesitation, Zacian picked up the pole again. This is a level 35 Goldfish King. Without much thought, Zacian once again sent Pikachu to defeat the Goldfish King. Ding. Pikachu gained 3600 experience points. With 100 times the benefit, Pikachu gained 360,000 experience points. Ding. Get the dropped item Ripple Incense X1. 100 times the benefits. Obtain the dropped item. The amount of Ripple Incense X100. Huh. Ripple Incense really exploded. Face. Generally speaking, the probability of items such as accessories exploding from Pokémons is relatively small, and most of them are ingredients or resources. Ripple Incense. Incense with a magical scent. After being carried, the power of water-based moves will increase. The giant winged flying fish carrying this item will lay eggs, and the offspring born will be small ball flying fish. After putting away the Ripple Incense, Zacian threw the float into the water again. After a few minutes, the float started moving again. 3 exclamation points. Is it a rare Pokémon? I wonder if it will be the Koga Ninja Frog. In the swampy ground, the only ones worthy of 3 exclamation points are the ugly fish and the Koga Ninja Frog. Thinking of this, Zacian raised the powerful fishing rod with great expectation. However, what made him speechless was that what he caught this time was not a Pokémon. Instead, it was a black mass. Ding. Congratulations to the player for getting Black Sludge X1. 100 times the benefits. Get the amount of Black Sludge X100. Black Sludge. After carrying it, poisonous Pokémons will slowly recover their blood volume, while for other attributes, their blood volume will be reduced. Generally speaking, this is an accessory that restores the blood volume of poison type Pokémons. It doesn't have much effect on Pokémons with other attributes. However, something is better than nothing. Zacian put the black sludge into his backpack and threw the fishing rod out again. A level 16 mosquito tadpole appears. In fact, mosquito repelling tadpoles are quite good and have 2 evolutionary paths. After evolving into mosquito repellent king, one must use the water stone to evolve into mosquito repellent swimmer. The other is to carry the king certificate and evolve into a mosquito repellent frog king through communication. Zacian thought about it and threw out the special bait ball, intending to capture a mosquito tadpole. After expending 2 bait balls, Zacian finally conquered this mosquito repellent tadpole. Ding. Since the Pokémons carried by the player are full, the mosquito repellent tadpole is automatically transferred to the PC. Zacian took out the PC and checked it. The qualifications of this mosquito repellent tadpole can only be regarded as above average and have not yet reached the top level qualifications. Then, Summer once again switched to fishing mode. At this moment, an exclamation suddenly came from not far away. Damn, can Usangia be brought out of this place? Hearing this exclamation, some players looked towards the source of the sound. I saw a lizard with teary eyes appear in front of the player who exclaimed. The tear-eyed lizard is the 3rd member of the royal family of the 8th generation, which is introduced on the official website. It is a relatively powerful water Pokémon. Seeing that the player actually caught a lizard with teary eyes, many players cast envious glances. It is good luck to be able to catch Usangia in the swamp. Zacian simply glanced at it and then withdrew his gaze. He threw the float back into the swamp. After waiting for almost 5 minutes, 3 exclamation marks suddenly appeared on the float. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Zarshan's expression changed, and he quickly took out the fishing rod. Then, a small yellowish brown fish with bumps all over its body appeared in front of him. It turns out to be an ugly fish. Zarshan was speechless when he saw another ugly fish being caught. After thinking about it, Zarshan decided to subdue this ugly fish. After losing 3 balls of bait, Zarshan captured this ugly fish again. Later, Zarshan took out the PC and checked the information of this ugly fish. I don't know how this ugly fish compares to the previous one. Although the ugly fish he had conquered before had superior grades, it was not very good either. I hope that this ugly fish's grades are acceptable. Ugly fish level 19. Gender, female. Attribute, water. Characteristics, slowness. Hidden characteristics, adaptability. Body type, high life rating, purple attack rating, gold defense rating, red special attack rating, gold special defense rating, blue speed rating, blue comprehensive combat strength. 270 intimacy. 50 skills, water splash. LV6, impact. LV4 items carried, none. How? It's actually the most qualified ugly fish? Seeing the information about the ugly fish, Zarshan's face also showed a trace of surprise. Color. The grades of this ugly fish are much better than the previous one. After checking it, Zarshan threw the fishing rod again. This time, after waiting for a long time, there was movement from the water. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Zarshan suddenly lifted the fishing rod, and a tall figure suddenly appeared in the water. This is a black and white Pokémon with a long pink tongue and a pair of big pink eyes around its neck. It held one of its palms above the water, half crouched on it, and looked at the humans in front of it with calm eyes. Seeing that figure, Zarshan's eyes showed a hint of surprise. Koga Ninja, Chapter 97 Conquest. Link features, Smart Frog. 5th update. Zarshan also didn't expect to catch a Koga Ninja frog. It seems like his luck is pretty good. Moreover, this is a shiny black ninja frog. The whole appearance looks extremely cool. It's crazy. The sudden appearance of the Koga Ninja was also noticed by other players around him. Damn, what happened? Another Gasangia appears. Wow, who is so lucky? A watery-eyed lizard just appeared, and now a Koga Ninja frog appears. That person seems to be the legendary Red God, right? Many players had some guesses when they saw Zarshan's image. Since he challenged the Wave Gym before, Zarshan's name had also spread. Many players said that if they encountered a player outside wearing red and white short-sleeved shirts, blue pants, and a hat, most likely, it is the leader of the ranking list, the legendary God Kai. It seems that it really is a Red God. Damn, I didn't expect to meet the Red God here. But the Red God is so lucky that he caught a Koga Ninja frog. What kind of fishing rod is Kai-Dashan using? A powerful fishing rod has a 5% chance of catching rare Pokémon. Although they recognize the powerful fishing rod in Zarshan's hand, they didn't know it. The fishing rod in Zarshan's hand is not an ordinary powerful fishing rod. Zarshan looked at the Koga Ninja in front of him, a flash of light flashing in his eyes. He has decided to conquer this Koga Ninja frog. This Koga Ninja frog's level is level 50. The strength is relatively strong. Zarshan does not plan to let Pikachu appear again. He was afraid of accidentally killing this Koga Ninja frog. After thinking for a while, he released Fairy Eevee. At the same time, he also wanted to know if the characteristics of this Koga Ninja frog were as he had guessed. Binding characteristics. Fairy Eevee, use characteristics exchange. The characteristics exchange skill can exchange the characteristics of both parties. In this way, you can know the characteristics of this Koga Ninja frog. Following Zarshan's order, a burst of blue light suddenly burst out from Fairy Ibrahimovic's eyes. Then, Koga Ninja felt that something was wrong, as if there were some changes in his body. However, he didn't notice anything wrong with these changes, which made him a little confused. Zarshan looked at the Fairy Ibrahimovic's exchange characteristics and the battle information, and suddenly a hint of joy flashed in his eyes. Sure enough, it was just as he guessed. This Koga Ninja frog really has binding properties. This made Zarshan more determined to conquer this bound ninja frog. Just as Zacian was stunned, the Koga Ninja Frog had already launched an attack. I saw him move his palm and 3 shurikens condensed from water shot out from his hand and flew towards the fairy Eevee. The shuriken condensed from water streaked through the air with a sharp light. The entire void, under this sharp edge, resounded with a sharp whistling sound. Fairy Ibrahimovic, Wall of Light. After hearing Zacian's order, a transparent wall of light suddenly condensed in front of Fairy Ibrahimovic. The flying shurikens that emerged from the air bombarded the wall of light and bounced back one after another. Koga Ninja was stopped by this attack. Seeing that the attack failed, Koga Ninja's eyes flashed and a blue light suddenly erupted from his eyes. Then, a transparent shockwave suddenly swept across the entire water surface. This is supernatural power. Zacian guessed in his heart. This shockwave penetrated Fairy Eevee's body, causing it to fly out and fall into the water. Fairy Ibrahimovic struggled a bit, jumped from the water onto the lotus leaf, and gasped lightly. This blow caused a lot of damage to Fairy Eevee, directly reducing Fairy Eevee's health by a third. Zacian frowned and ordered, "Fairy Ibrahimovic, use yawn." Hearing this, Fairy Ibrahimovic opened her mouth and let out a sigh. There were tears in her blue eyes, and she seemed to be a little sleepy. This was a lazy breath, which swept towards Koga Ninja. Koga Ninja looked at Fairy Eevee silently, a little confused. Doesn't he understand what this breath means? Does he still want to sleep during the battle? Then, Koga Ninja fired 3 shurikens again. Fairy Ibrahimovic, stop the shuriken with the power of the moon. Following Zacian's order, a bright moon suddenly appeared above Fairy Ibrahimovic's head, emitting a faint light. Then, the bright moon suddenly turned and hit the sudden shuriken. Boom. A loud sound was heard, and the shuriken scattered. After the bright moon dispersed the shuriken, it did not dissipate, but continued to shoot towards Koga Ninja. Looking at the bright moon that shot towards him, Koga Ninja was just about to counterattack. Suddenly, a drowsy feeling arose from the depths of his mind, causing Koga Ninja to subconsciously squint his eyes. He shook his head, trying to dispel the drowsiness. However, the drowsiness became more and more intense, and his eyelids became heavier and heavier. Immediately afterwards, Koga Ninja fell down, floating on the water, and fell into a deep sleep. The power of the moon also bombarded Koga Ninja's body at this moment, causing considerable damage to him. Seeing this situation, Zacian also showed a smile on his face. It seems that his tactic was successful. With a flash of vision, Zacian directly threw out the special bait ball. The bait ball drew a graceful arc in the air and accurately hit the Koga Ninja frog. Suddenly, Koga Ninja was sucked in. Buzz, 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 buzz. The bait ball shook violently. Boom. The bait ball suddenly exploded, and Koga Ninja's figure appeared in the water again. Frowning, Zacian threw out a bait ball again. Soon after, Koga Ninja appeared again. Zacian was also speechless and threw out a bait ball again. It wasn't until the 4th bait ball was thrown out that Zacian caught the Koga Ninja frog. Ding. Congratulations to the player for subduing Koga Ninja frog. Ding. Since the player's Pokemon is full, Koga Ninja frog will automatically transfer back to the PC. Cheyenne tone was relieved. Fortunately, he had more bait balls. If ordinary people threw them out like him, they would never catch other Pokemons they caught. Later, Zacian took out the PC to check Koga Ninja's information. Koga Ninja frog, flash, level 50, gender, male, attribute, water, evil features, binding features, hidden features, none, body type, high life ratings, purple attack ratings, gold defense ratings, red special attack ratings, gold special defense ratings, red speed rating, gold comprehensive combat power, 400 intimacy, 50 skills, slap LV6, scream LV5, bubble LV5, lightning LV3, tongue LV5, water wave LV7, smoke screen LV4, shadow sneak attack LV4, saling LV3, flying shuriken LV10, surprise strike LV4, stand LV3, supernatural power LV5, accessories carried. None. This is an extremely skilled intelligent frog. Looking at the 6 attributes of the Koga Ninja frog, Zacian also showed a hint of joy in his eyes. After thinking about it, Zarshan put the eggs of Fierce Arrow Eagle and Lalulus from the team into the PC, and replaced Wise Frog and Ugly Fish. With 2 Pokémons with the highest ratings, reaching the finals is a sure thing. Next, improve the levels of both of them to prepare for the finals of the fishing conference. After all, the finals depends on the 2 of them. Phew, it's not easy. It's finally over. Everyone celebrates. Chapter 98 Fishing in Ice Fields. Beautiful scales. Zarshan stayed in the swampy ground for a while, but then he found out the ones caught are basically some common Pokémon such as Angora, Magikarp, Smelly Mud, Devouring Turtle, etc. However, what surprised him was that he actually caught another Koga Ninja Frog. However, the characteristic of this Koga Ninja Frog is not the ordinary torrent characteristic, but the ability to freely change. The Koga Ninja Frog with this characteristic is still relatively rare and can handle more situations than the intelligent frog. However, the grades of this transformed frog are not very good and can only be considered average grades. Zarshan thought about it and decided that he should stop cultivating this transformed frog and send it to the breeding ranch to lay eggs. Raising a highly rated frog is not bad, but it still depends on luck. After all, the traits inherited by the offspring may be fast-flowing traits, or they may be modifiable traits. Zarshan's eyes looked around. Because of the incident involving the Yusen family, there were more players nearby. Most of them are players who want to catch a watery-eyed lizard or a Koga Ninja Frog. He had already caught the rarest Pokémon in the swamp, so there was no need to waste time here. Thinking of this, Zarshan opened the teleportation menu, searched for and selected a terrain near the ice sheet and the ocean. In fact, there are quite a few terrains near the sea, but the Pokémons that can be caught are somewhat similar. However, on the ice beach, it is possible to catch some Pokémons that are not found on other beaches. For example, many dragons. The final evolved Kualong, one of the dragon quasi gods, is known as Fat. Spending 500 Pokémon coins, Zarshan teleported towards the icefield terrain. Arriving at Novice Village on the icefield, Zarshan walked towards the seashore. The coast of the icefield terrain is covered in snow, and the entire terrain is covered in snow, and covered in silver. There are still many ice blocks in the sea and some players even built an igloo on the frozen sea. Zarshan walked around the frozen ocean, and chose a beach near the snow-capped mountains. Zarshan throws the float into the sea and waits quietly. The efficiency of the powerful fishing rod was quite good, and soon after, there was movement. When Zarshan mentioned the fishing rod, it was a 29 Sakura fish. The cherry blossom fish is one of the evolved forms of the pearl oyster. The other is the hunter fish, which is uglier. Zarshan had no intention of subduing this cherry blossom fish, and then released the ugly fish. Chow Chow fish, please tell me. Chow Chow fish is only here to gain experience, and the rest should be left to Koga Ninja Frog. After replacing Chow Chow fish, Zarshan replaced Koga Ninja Frog. With a flash of white light, a black figure appeared on the ice field, forming a unique landscape. No matter how you look at it, this Koga Ninja Frog is really cool. Koga Ninja, Bond Evolution. As Zarshan's order came out, Koga Ninja's body suddenly erupted with a burst of dazzling light. Then, a furious momentum spread out. Wow. The light dissipated, and the new Koga Ninja appeared in front of Zarshan's eyes. At this moment, Koga Ninja was like a ninja in a black ninja uniform, with his hands crossed on his chest and a solemn face. Behind Koga Ninja is a huge shuriken made of water. With the evolution of Koga Ninja's Bond, he also has a special skill in his skill bar, the Golden Shuriken. The Golden Shuriken is a variant skill of the Flying Shuriken, and is much more powerful than the Flying Shuriken. This is also due to the bonus after the evolution of the Koga Ninja Bond. Koga Ninja Frog, Golden Shuriken. I saw the Koga Ninja Frog jump slightly and leap into the air. The huge shuriken behind her was raised, emitting a dazzling golden light. As it was swung, the golden shuriken in Koga Ninja's hand instantly flew up and shot towards the cherry blossom fish in the sea. The huge golden shuriken flew through the air, emitting a sharp, piercing whistling sound, as if the air had been torn open. Sensing the ferocity of the golden shuriken, the cherry blossom fish in the sea also let out an uneasy cry. However, just as Sakura Fish was nervous, the huge golden shuriken streaked through the air. Boom. The golden shuriken struck Sakura Fish, causing a deafening roar. Under Koga Ninja's punch, Sakura Fish's blood volume instantly bottomed out, turned into a white light, and disappeared. Ding. Koga Ninja gained 4000 experience points. With a 100-fold benefit, Koga Ninja gained 400,000 experience points. Ding. Koga Ninja's level has increased to level 51 and his overall combat power is 400. Ding. Koga Ninja used the golden shuriken skill in battle and his skill has improved 100 times with the blessing of income. Koga Ninja's skill level has been improved. Ding. Ugly Fish gains 2000 experience points. With a 100 times benefit, Ugly Fish gains 200,000 experience points. Ding. Ugly Fish's level has increased to level 25, and the overall combat power is 220. Ding. I obtained dropped items. Deep Sea Scales X1. Scales X100. Deep sea scales are accessories worn by pearl oysters and evolved into cherry blossom fish through communication. They will fall off, which is considered normal. However, it is of no use to Zacian, but it still remains in the backpack. So, Zacian threw the fishing rod out again. This time the wait was a little longer, but 3 exclamation marks appeared. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. After Zacian lifted the pole, a message appeared in front of him. Ding. Congratulations to the player for obtaining Wound Medicine X1. 100 times the benefits. Obtain Wound Medicine X100. Zacian thought that he had caught some rare item or Pokémon, but he didn't expect that. What he caught was a wound medicine. Sighing, Zacian threw the float back into the sea. To be honest, this rare Pokémon is still relatively difficult to catch. Even if you catch it, the grades vary greatly. Not only that, you might even see some accessories. In general, what you want to catch depends entirely on luck. Even Summer has a special and powerful fishing rod. No, soon after, there was movement on the float again. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Good boy, there are 3 exclamation marks. I wonder what they are. Seeing this situation, Zacian has become relatively calm. Then, he suddenly lifted the pole, and a tall Pokémon appeared in front of him. This Pokémon has a long body, a milky white belly, 2 pink ponytails, and the tail is covered with red and blue scales. It's like a beautiful snake. Menace. Zacian was also a little surprised. He didn't expect to catch a menace. In fact, this was beyond his expectations. We had already caught 2 Chow Chow fish before, and now we caught another Menace. He really has a destiny with this race. Although he caught a Menace, Zacian had no intention of catching it again. His plan is to tame a mini dragon. Then, Zacian released the ugly fish to gain a wave of experience like before, and then replace the Koga Ninja Frog on the field. Not long after, Menace was defeated by the Koga Ninja Frog. Ding. Koga Ninja gained 4,500 experience points. With 100 times the benefit, Koga Ninja gained 450,000 experience points. Ding. Ugly Fish gains 2,300 experience points. With 100 times the benefit, Ugly Fish gains 230,000 experience points. Ding. The Ugly Fish's level has increased to level 27, and the comprehensive combat power is 250. Ding. I obtained dropped items. Beautiful Scales X1. Scales X100. Huh. Beautiful scales really appeared? Zacian was also a little surprised, but he didn't expect such a harvest. In this case, it is not easy to raise an ugly fish with golden and legendary ratings. He also doesn't have to worry about the lack of beautiful scales, preventing the ugly fish from evolving into Menace. Thinking of this, a touch of joy flashed through Zacian's heart. Later, Zacian threw the fishing rod into the sea again. I don't know how long it will take to catch the mini dragon. Chapter 99, a magnificent twist. It's about to evolve. I stayed on the ice field for half a day in summer, and what I caught were basically relatively common Pokémon. Although rare Pokémon occasionally appear, none of them are Zacian's target. And Zacian also raised Koga Ninja's level to level 56. Even the ugly fish's level has been raised to level 32. Just as Zarshian was thinking about whether he should change his position, the float finally moved again. Faced with this situation, Zarshian was no longer surprised and took out the fishing rod relatively calmly. It is a blue-skinned Pokémon and is Zarshian's target. A level 25 mini dragon appeared in front of Zarshian. Although mini dragons are not water spirits, they live in the sea, so they can be caught. Zarshian released Fairy Eevee and planned to conquer this mini dragon. Fairy Eevee, yawn. Hearing the order, Fairy Eevee opened her mouth and let out a lazy sigh towards the mini dragon. The mini dragon opened its mouth, and a purple energy ball condensed in its mouth and shot towards Fairy Eevee. Wall of light, block it. Suddenly, a transparent wall of light appeared in front of Fairy Ibrahimovic, and the purple energy ball bombarded the wall of light without causing any harm to Fairy Ibrahimovic. Then, the mini dragon suddenly felt a powerful drowsiness take over, and then fell into a deep sleep. Seeing this, Zarshian quickly threw the special bait ball out. Buzz, 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 buzz. Minnie was sucked into the ball and struggled violently, but after struggling for a while, it stopped. Ding. Congratulations to the player, you have conquered the mini dragon. Ding. Since the Pokémons carried by the player are full, the mini dragon is automatically transferred back to the PC. The mini dragon's information, generally speaking, was quite good. Not bad, it's top quality. Mini dragon level 29 gender, male attribute, dragon feature, shedding hidden feature, magic scales body type, normal life rating, blue attack rating, purple defense rating, red special attack rating, red special defense rating, purple speed rating, purple comprehensive combat power. 260 intimacy. 50 skills, stare LV3, electromagnetic wave LV4, tornado LV6, dragon's rage LV4, vanquish LV3, high speed movement LV3 carried items, none, and this mini dragon also has hidden magic scales. When it falls into an abnormal state, it can increase defense by 50%, which is pretty good. After subduing the mini dragon, the Pokémon that will participate in this summer's fishing conference have basically been determined. The level 29 mini dragon, the level 32 ugly fish, and the level 56 Koga Ninja frog. However, the current levels of the mini dragon and ugly fish are still too low and still need to be upgraded. Moreover, the Chow Chow fish has not yet evolved into Menace, and cannot exert its two fighting power. Later, Zarshian took out the teleportation menu, and planned to return to the base first. Spending 500 Pokémon coins, Zarshian returned to the base. I cleaned up the items in my backpack, left the necessary accessories and resources, and gave the beautiful scales to the ugly fish to carry. Then, they arrived at the breeding pasture. After entering the breeding ranch, Zarshian found some empty ranch buckets, and placed the newly conquered Pokémon such as Koga Ninja frogs, ugly fish, mosquito tadpoles, etc., with changing characteristics for breeding, into them. After that, the breeding environment was arranged. The breeding environment for water Pokémon is relatively simple. You only need to make a pond, and put some lotus leaves in it. Of course, Koga Ninja has water and evil attributes, and you need to put some coal blocks in. Zarshian already has these resources, so it won't be a problem. After doing this, Zarshian opened the teleportation menu, and came to Novice Village. After arriving at Novice Village, Zarshian planned to develop the Chow Chow fish communication first. However, he needs to find someone he can trust. Otherwise, if someone takes it away after the trade, there will be no room for crying. Of course, it is also possible to look down on the ugly fish. After all, until now, no player has figured out the evolution conditions of the ugly fish. Later, Zarshian came to the Pokémon Center, which had communication and trading machines. There are many players in the Pokémon Center, and many players come here to send Pokémon to the competition. As soon as Zarshian entered the Pokémon Center, he attracted the attention of the surrounding players. Zarshian can be said to be famous now, especially his suit of red and white short sleeve jacket, blue trousers, and red and white hat, which is easy to identify. In the game, only Zarshian is dressed like this. Nowadays, most players have richer resources, and can also build some suits and the like. The most popular ones are iron suits, gold suits, and even diamond suits. Of course, these suits can only increase armor and reduce unnecessary damage without any special additional effects. Looking at the suits worn by many players, Zaoshan also wondered whether he should create a suit. There are still a lot of awakening stones in the box at his base, enough to create an awakening suit. If you continue to attract attention like this, you will also cause unnecessary trouble. Crap, I didn't expect to meet the Red God. Red God, yides. I wonder what kind of Pokémon the Red God caught? Who do you think will win the final victory in this fishing competition? Needless to say, it must be the Red God. That's not necessarily the case. I heard that the president of Dynasty Guilds, Gate the Wind Never Give Up, caught a high quality menace in the depths of the ocean. The president of the Peerless Fenghua Guild also caught a top tier western heron lion. Menace? What kind of Pokemon is that? I don't know. Menace is said to be a rare Pokemon. I don't know what kind of Pokemons evolved from it. Besides these few, there are also some regular ones on the ladder list, and the Pokemons they caught are all very qualified. While everyone was talking, Zaoshan looked around, asked, I wonder if any of the big guys are free. Can you do Menxin a small favor? As soon as Zaoshan said these words, the Pokemon Center instantly fell silent. Many players widened their eyes with disbelief on their faces. They looked at Zaoshan with strange eyes and cursed in their hearts. Are you new? Lie to the devil. The overlord of the Pokémon tier list actually dares to call him a rookie. Sure enough, are all the big guys like this versatiles? At this moment, a player came out and said to Zaoshan, Master Kai, I'm here. Is there anything I can do to help you? When Zaoshan saw someone helping him, a smile appeared on his face and said, It's nothing, I just want to exchange Pokémon communications. Oh, that's all, it's just a small problem. Kaidashan, let's go to the communication switch, he said. Then he took the lead and walked towards the location of the communication switch. Seeing this, Zaoshan also walked towards the location of the communication switch. Many players were also attracted and were somewhat curious in their hearts about which Pokémon Zaoshan wanted to exchange. Red God, I wonder what Pokémon you want to exchange, the player next to the communication switch asked. An ugly fish. Zaoshan said. It turns out to be an ugly fish. I also have one, but this Pokémon is relatively trash. If it weren't for its rarity, I wouldn't have caught it, the player said as he placed a Pokémon ball into the communication switch. Zaoshan simply smiled, said nothing, and placed the ugly fish into the communication switch. Afterwards, the communication exchange was completed. The two exchanged Pokémon again. Zaoshan retrieved the ugly fish and released it. At the same time, a message appeared in front of his eyes. Ding. Something's wrong with the ugly fish. I saw that the entire body of the ugly fish was suddenly enveloped in a dazzling light, and the light illuminated the entire core of the Pokémon. When the surrounding players saw this situation, there was also a hint of surprise in their eyes. What's going on? Why is the Red God ugly fish glowing? It seems that Pokémons are starting to evolve, right? The player was stunned when he saw this situation. Meanwhile, he asked in confusion, Kids, what's going on with your ugly fish? Why is it suddenly glowing? Zaoshan smiled and replied lightly, It's going to evolve. Chapter 100 The fishing contest finals begin. As soon as Zaoshan said this, everyone was stunned for a moment. Damn it, the ugly fish can actually evolve. Didn't you mean that the ugly fish can't evolve at all? Not only can it not evolve, but it's also a fish that's even worse than Magikarp. This is the first time I've heard about the ugly fish. The ugly fish can evolve. While everyone was stunned, the light on the ugly fish grew more and more intense. Soon, the ugly fish suddenly began to grow larger. Its originally short fish body became slender, its yellow appearance turned into milky white skin, 2 braids hung on its head, and its body was 6 meters tall. The light dissipated, and the evolved form of Chow Chow fish, Menace, also appeared in front of everyone. Menace lowered his head and looked at his figure. He changed his ugly image from the previous period of the ugly fish, and there was a look of joy on his face. Obviously, he was very happy to be able to evolve into Menace. Seeing the appearance of Menace, many players had expressions of disbelief on their faces, filled with shock. Damn, the ugly fish actually evolved into Menace. How is this possible? Could it be said that the ugly fish can evolve into Menace through trading? Is this possible? I have communicated before, so why has my Chow Chow fish not evolved? Perhaps it needs to meet some conditions before it can evolve through communication. Many players speculated. In that case, Chow Chow fish is not a trash Pokémon. As a Carp King, it can also make a big comeback. Newbie, Red God newbie. Later, Zacian said to the player, I remember that you also have a Chow Chow fish, so I will give you this beautiful scale as a thank you gift for helping Menace evolve. This time, in shock, he blankly took the beautiful scales that Zacian handed him. The player acted and asked, Red God, must the ugly fish carry these beautiful scales and then trade them through communication so that they can evolve into Menace? Wasn't he stupid, since Zacian gave him a piece? From the beauty scales, judging from the situation just now, it is very likely that this is how the ugly fish evolved. Zacian nodded and said with a faint smile, yes, only when this condition is met can the ugly fish evolve. That's it. The player suddenly nodded and said to Zacian, thank you, Master Kai. When the players around him heard this, they also understood the evolution conditions of the ugly fish and all cast envious glances at the player. There are also many players who own ugly fish with regretful expressions on their faces. If they had known earlier, they should have helped Zacian. In this way, you can obtain a beautiful scale, which can allow the ugly fish to evolve. Zacian nodded, then walked out of the crowd, walked over to the PC, put Fairy Eevee into the PC, and took out the mini dragon. After doing this, Zacian walked towards the registration office of the fishing conference. Arriving in front of the yellow uniformed NPC at the fishing conference, Zacian said, hello, I want to upload the Pokémon S information. Hearing this, the yellow uniformed NPC nodded. In front of Zacian, a reminder popped up. Ding. Players are invited to choose the Pokémon to participate in the fishing conference. In front of Zacian, a selection panel popped up, and it was the Pokémon in Zacian's team. However, there are only mini dragons, Menace, and intelligent frogs. After uploading the information of the 3 Pokémon, Zacian left the Pokémon Center. In the remaining time, he planned to improve the levels of the remaining 2 participating Pokémon. Just as Zacian left the Pokémon Center, there was already a huge uproar in the chat channel. Damn, the evolved form of the ugly fish turned out to be Menace. After watching it for a long time, it turns out that the ugly fish can also fight back. Those beautiful scales, where can I get them? There is a certain chance that it will be sold in the Pokémon shop, but it's a bit expensive. I saw it in a wild village before, and it cost 300,000 Pokémon coins. Damn, no way, it's like that. Expensive? By the way, it can also be dropped from Menace. I caught a Menace in the ocean before, but it was killed, and a beautiful scale emerged. That's true, there is a boss with a powerful fishing rod on the cliff above. It is said that only by fishing with a powerful fishing rod can you catch Menace. That's right. By the way, does anyone know how to get a powerful fishing rod? It's just Menace. There is a certain chance of selling it in the shop. If you are lucky, there are some fishing NPCs in the wild. If you do tasks, you might have a chance to get a powerful fishing rod. Just as the chat channel was busy, Zacian, we have arrived at a desert area. The fastest way to upgrade water Pokémon is naturally to farm rock type, ground type, and fire type Pokémon. After spending half a day, Zacian also successfully upgraded the mini dragon to level 50 and successfully evolved into a hack dragon. Menace level has improved the fastest and has reached level 56. It is basically the same level as the main Pokémon in summer. Zacian had just finished leveling up when a server-wide announcement appeared in front of him. Byte. Server-wide announcement. The fishing conference preliminaries will end at 3 PM. Players who have not yet selected their Pokémon to participate in the finals should go to the fishing conference registration office in the Pokémon Center in Novice Village as soon as possible and select their Pokémon to upload. After the Pokémon is uploaded, you can check whether you are eligible to participate in the finals. Finalists can check the ranking of the Pokémon on the final ranking list. The fishing conference finals will be held at each battle center tomorrow at 1500 hours, and other players will be able to watch the live broadcast of the game in the Pokémon Center. The finals are finally about to begin, and the flowers I was waiting for have almost withered. I don't know which boss will be the final winner of the fishing conference this time. The rewards for the champion are really rich, of course. The second and third place are not bad either. It's a gamble, a bet of 100,000 Pokémon coins. The odds are 10 to 1. Let's see who has good luck this time. This competition really depends on luck. It is said that the opponent is randomly matched. If you are not lucky enough, you will basically lose if you meet the leader of the ladder. That's not necessarily true. Do you win? I bet this game will definitely be a hit. There is a dark horse. Big brother on the ladder? Have you forgotten someone? That's the eternal leader in the Pokémon rankings. Kai, it's not about the level of the Pokémons. You should know that they are all fished Pokémons. Even if you level up faster, how high can you go? The most important thing is not to rely on battle to determine victory, loss. One thing is that this fishing competition really depends on luck, but also on the ability of money. Don't they sell magic candies in the shop? If you have money, just buy some magic candies to upgrade the Pokémons. Damn it, that's true. Leveling up in the wild is really too slow. I'm going to buy some magic candies. Seeing this announcement all over the server, Zarshian also had a smile on his face. The finals of this fishing competition are finally about to begin. However, he doesn't know where his 3 Pokémon will rank. The ranking list of the finalists of the fishing conference is based on the complete ratings of the 3 Pokémon players' Pokémon. Zarshian isn't sure whether the ratings of his 3 Pokémon will be surpassed, but being shortlisted for the finals is basically not a problem. Because the intelligent frog he caught had extremely high ratings and could be said to be extremely rare among Pokémon born in the wild. Later, Zarshian took out the teleportation menu, spent 500 Pokémon coins, and teleported back to Novice Village. He was going to the Pokémon Center to check his ranking. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.